spots are on the line in the NFL preseason. There's some competition at safety for the Indianapolis Colts, and one of the guys trying to lock in a spot is Nick Cross.
That rotation back there with those guys, Nick Cross and Rodney and Ronnie and Trevor Denbo and Julian, I mean, we're looking at all that stuff right now. And like I said, the guy that makes the most plays here, we got another week and a half, before we start this thing off.
Head coach Shane Steichen. The Colts play the Cincinnati Bengals in their final preseason game tonight at 8 o'clock. Traffic on the 5s, Matt Bear.
Kurt, southbound 69, Pendleton is shut down right now from State Road 38 to State Road 13. And with this comes a backup to State Road 67, exit 22. Get out there or you will be stuck in the delay. Northeast side crash westbound 465 before Allisonville Road. 2 left lanes are blocked, jamming traffic back to Penn Pike. And we have a crash on the exit from northbound 465 to Penn Pike. That ramp is open, partially blocked, slowing us back to I-70. Still closed, it has been all morning, is the entrance ramp from southbound Keystone Parkway to eastbound 465. That was a mess of a crash. A semi-trailer overturned, spilling large metal sheets all over the roadway. They are still cleaning it up, and the ramp remains closed from southbound Keystone to eastbound 465. Downtown crash, eastbound 70 before West. That has cleared south side. Still a stall westbound 465 before Harding. That's blocking the left lane and jamming us up well past the 31 exit. Traffic sponsored by Allstate. Some people just know the best rate for you is a rate based on you. With Allstate, not one based on anyone else. Visit allstate.com or call for a quote today. I'm Matt Bear with traffic on the 5s. Follow us at WIBC Traffic.
The deals and specials are sizzling hot. It's the Central Indiana Gun and Knife Show this Saturday and Sunday at the Stoutfield National Guard Armory on West Minnesota Street. The best dealers in the region, hundreds of tables, just $6 for adults, kids 12 and under free. Must be 18 or accompanied by an adult. Buy, sell, trade. This Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Sunday, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Stoutfield National Guard Armory. For more info, visit CentralIndianaGunShows.com.
David was in big trouble with the IRS.
At first, I didn't owe that much, but after this year, it was out of control.
Then David called Get a Tax Lawyer.
Right away, they were like, oh yeah, looks like you're qualified to save.
Get a Tax Lawyer went to work.
Should have called way sooner.
Get a Tax Lawyer has helped thousands like David fight the IRS and get a fresh start.
Call 800-745-3070. That's 800-745-3070.
The forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
Lots of sunshine today. After a chilly start, we warm up nicely. Today's high 80. Mostly clear, quiet, cool, but not as chilly overnight. A low of 54. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Marcus Bailey for 93 WIBC.
59 and sunny downtown. I'm Kirk Darling on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
You're listening to Rob Kendall. When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money. And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Well, good morning. It is Thursday, August 22nd. It is 7 minutes after 9. It is Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. So guess what? He's going to address the nation on Friday at 2 o'clock. He put out a post. He said, the address will be live streamed on all social channels. Of course, we're talking about Robert F. Kennedy Jr., third-party presidential candidate. Reportedly, he's going to drop out of the race.
Not only is he going to drop out, he's supposedly going to endorse Trump.
Well, that's the big portion of this. A lot of people are really excited about that.
Okay, put yourself in a Kennedy supporter, couldn't be a voter because voting hasn't even started yet, Kennedy supporter position.
You mean a donor?
Donor. I mean, he's obviously had people who either paid or not have gone and gotten signatures for him to get on the ballots in all these states. Mm-hmm. And you've put all this time and effort, and you said with him, most importantly, money behind this guy. And a month before early voting starts in a lot of these states, he just is going to waltz out to some microphone and go, yeah, I'm out, and I'm going to endorse one of the guys I told you should totally be against. Mm-hmm. How are you feeling right now?
Well, you're probably thinking if you gave money, wow, I could have just lit that on fire, it would have been just as effective,
Well,
right?
normally you don't get anything. I mean, people who give big money to politicians do get something, but a normal person who gets nothing for their money. But in this case, I mean, he's not even going to make it. He's not even going to run for the office. I mean, this is why you shouldn't believe any of these people, right? It's because it's just, I mean, you got to do your own research, your own verification. I mean, if he does indeed drop out and then throws his support behind Donald Trump, after all the things he said about Donald Trump, I mean, if you're a person who is behind Kennedy, you're just going to have egg all over your face.
Well, he's also been trashing Harris as well, calling her someone without a single policy that anybody thinks isn't ridiculous. And he also said that the decision is, well, the sources say that the decision is not yet finalized. It could still change.
If I tell you I'm having an announcement, yeah, what is he just going to get there and read the phone book? I mean, he has something to say.
Yeah.
Now, I don't mean to throw cold water on this, but I think there's a lot of like Trump people who think this is some sort of magic bullet that, he's going to somehow tip the election in Trump's favor. The polling data, and this is generally the case with third parties, independents or libertarians, they usually poll pretty equally from both sides. Not all the time. Like obviously we saw here in 2020, Rainwater took almost exclusively from Republicans who were mad at Holcomb. But in general, libertarians or independents poll equally from both sides. And so I don't think Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s endorsement is going to be some automatic, hey, people will definitely go vote for who he tells them to go to vote for. Would you rather have it than not? Probably. And in a state where, hey, 10,000 votes could make all the difference, does it maybe tip the scales? Yes. But I wouldn't be doing this huge happy dance thinking the election's over if he somehow gets behind Donald Trump.
Well, the other option, you said he's going to go out there and say something. What else is he going to say? They did tease that there's the option they would form a third party. Unlikely.
But form a third. What are you talking about, Casey? Form a third party? He can't. He's not. He's already on the ballot as an independent. He can't form a third party. He can't. Was he going to create the banana party?
Well, that's what Nicole. Isn't that her name? Nicole Shanahan. That's what she said when she was doing that interview?
But what is that? I don't even understand what that would even mean. He is a third. He's running as an independent. That is essentially a third part. What is he going to?
Create like a no labels or something like that?
Oh, no, he's getting out of the race. Stop. Everybody needs to just stop. He's getting out of the race. He's sold out. He's nothing but a politician. He wants power. Trump has probably agreed to give him something, which that's really scary because Kennedy is a far left radical on. Now, somebody posted this yesterday, and I thought, well, this might actually be just and fair. Make him the head of the CIA.
Right, I've heard that too. The director of the CIA. So that would take a simple majority of the Senate to pass that through. So I guess the question is, to somebody like Jim Banks, would he vote for that position?
And obviously it looks like, barring some sort of just huge meltdown in Montana, the Republicans are going to have at least a one-vote majority in the Senate next year. I mean, but look, again, I mean, the guy was so wet. Like, let's just walk through this, shall we? The guy was supposedly so wet. He was at this moral stand, right? Like both sides have failed the American people, and both sides are have proven themselves incapable to provide solutions, and blah 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 blah. And then right before the voting's supposed to start, yeah, I'm out and I'm endorsing one of these guys.
I'm done. Yeah. Trump is holding a campaign rally in Arizona on Friday.
No way,
as
that's
well.
an accident. Come on.
Right next to each other.
I mean, if he were not going to be endorsing Donald Trump, he would have come out and said, "Oh no, that's not even close to true. I'm in this race to win it. I'm not getting out. You people are just the worst. Get out of my sight." I mean, he didn't do that because that appears to be the path that he is clearly going down.
He's just waiting for a good deal from Trump to, say for sure.
And who knows what deal he got? I just think when you start cutting deals with people who don't share, I mean, this is what we talked about the first time with Trump, putting a lot of people in there who were not conservatives, putting a lot of people in there that didn't share his vision. And if, maybe he didn't, maybe he just told him, we'll think about it later. Maybe, who knows?
Well, there was that phone call that did leak about a month ago. Kennedy and Trump on the phone.
This is why people don't engage in politics, because they don't believe people are real. They don't believe people are genuine. You get kind of excited about somebody. And look, in the case of most people, they were excited about certain policies or ideas Kennedy had. Not like you. They weren't excited about dragging their fingernails across his chest. But, I mean, whatever the reason, people were fired up about this guy. And now, I mean, if you're someone who hates the system, are you going to vote the way Robert F. Kennedy Jr. tells you to vote, which is for the system?
Yeah. Or is that just another, stab in the back by this guy?
I don't know. I don't think it's going to move as much as people think, but it'll give us something to talk about.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying that if he does endorse Trump, it will seal the deal in at least some swing states. Virginia, Pennsylvania, Arizona.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr. endorsing Trump does not fix the biggest issue in places like Pennsylvania and Michigan, which is the jelly bean counting. And as long as the Democrats will count the jelly beans, in the case of Pennsylvania, they're like, it could be 10 days after the election. We still might be counting. Who knows? Nothing weird about that.
All right, let's do a quick recap of what happened last night at the DNC.
Do we have to?
How many minutes of it did you watch?
0. I watched 0 minutes last night. I tried to do it the first 2 nights, and it was so late, and I had to get up and do State House happenings this morning, and it was just like, why? What am I going to see that is worth staying up till midnight for?
Well, you missed Oprah.
No, I didn't miss her.
Exactly.
I did not
You're
see
the one
her.
who won last night by not watching.
Well,
she said that she's been on the receiving end of racism, sexism, income inequality, and yet has a net worth of $2.7 billion.
Yeah, the lady worth billions is going to tell us how we should cry a river for her. Yeah, nothing endears yourself to the common man like telling people when you're a billionaire with a TV network how crummy your life has been.
She's been a very powerful, super wealthy person for her, more or less her entire adult life. And then she goes on stage at the DNC and plays the victim.
Yeah, well, and then, of course, Walz. Okay, so Walz is a level of pathological liar we have not seen in a long time in politics, and that's really saying something. I mean, he lies about everything. He is the John Lovitz character from Saturday Night Live. He's just short of saying, yeah, that's the ticket. And this lie about the IVF thing,
which his wife has come out and said, yeah, no, they had IUI treatment, not IVF.
So if you're not familiar with this, Tim Walz and his wife, which many, many, many people go through this, and there's nothing in any way wrong with this. They had trouble conceiving a child. They went through what do they call that? To help, where they have doctors and stuff who will help you. Fertility doctors, thank you. Thanks for the help, Casey. Looking at you going, help, and you're just staring at me like, thank you. Fertility doctors, and he concocts this story because IVF is all the cause du jour now because of this Alabama Supreme Court ruling about IVF, and the Democrats believe they can score votes with it, that he went through all of these IVF treatments that didn't work, and then the wife came out and totally refutes the story and was like, no, we didn't do that. We did this other thing, which is far, far different, and nobody has any objections to it whatsoever. And it's like, you lie about everything.
Yeah, he's just trying to relate, and it didn't even happen. So you had him as well on stage, not ready for prime time at all. And then, of course, Bill Clinton spoke, and I don't know, was he comparing Joe Biden to George Washington?
It's really hard for a politician to do. He voluntarily gave up political power. And George Washington knew that, and he did it. And he set the standard for us serving 2 terms before it was mandatory. It helped his legacy, and it will enhance Joe Biden's legacy.
Is he dead?
Who?
Clinton. Well, I guess you could ask that for Biden, too.
Wasn't sure which one you were talking about.
He sounds awful.
Well, he is, 80-something?
No, he's not 80. How old is it? Let's play the prices right
Oh,
game.
no, he's going to be in his 70s,
I will say Bill Clinton is 77 years old. What do you say?
76.
76. Kev, what do you say?
78.
Okay, so we got a 77, a 76, a 78. He is 78. Kevin, congratulations. You are the winner.
Well, I wasn't that far off from saying 81.
So he's Trump's age. Listen to the difference on the. So, this is crazy. Sylvester Stallone is in a TV show called Tulsa King. Have you seen this show?
No.
Kevin, have you seen Tulsa King?
No.
It's on Paramount. Boy, how creepy is this? I just said Sylvester Stallone, and I started to spell his name, and I got to S-Y, and it popped right up.
There you go.
That's really spooky.
Autopopulate.
Anyway, he is also 78 years old. And, you know, he's Mr. Tough Shot action guy still in this. It's like but it's a TV show. He plays this mafia guy who gets basically shipped out to Tulsa so that they can try to hide him and get rid of him. And he starts this crime syndicate out there. But it's like, it's so wild that Bill Clinton sounding like death is the same age as Donald Trump and Sylvester Stallone, who look as good as they've ever looked.
Well, if you were married to Hillary Clinton, wouldn't you age rapidly as
Very
well?
fair.
It is Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel.
Kamala Harris is there right now. She's the de facto president because, let's be honest, President Applesauce Brains isn't calling the shots. It's her and the Obamas. And they're talking about how we need to have hope in this country. Donald Trump has not been the president for nearly 4 years now. And 12 of the last 16 years has been Democrat leadership. So why do we need hope? This is your doing. It's ridiculous.
Hammer and Nigel. Weekdays 3 till 7 on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
Sinus pressure, congestion, snoring, being unable to sleep, being unable to breathe. Yep, it's another sinus infection. You've Googled, watched videos, tried over-the-counter sprays, medications, and home remedies, but nothing ever works. There must be some kind of treatment that can help, right? Indianapolis Sinus Center understands how draining it can be when you try treatment after treatment without any relief. That's why they've been serving and treating the community for over 50 years. Indianapolis Sinus Center has performed thousands of procedures and helped thousands of patients find lasting relief they didn't know was possible. Patients like you. If you've had enough of sinus pain, pressure, and congestion, schedule a visit with Indianapolis Sinus Center today. Call 317-528-9650 and take the first step toward breathing easy. 317-528-9650. That's 317-528-9650 or visit IndianapolisSinusCenter.com.
Are you a business owner or professional looking to make an impact towards a greater cause? If so, please join us for a powerful morning of hope and action at the Hope Starts Here breakfast on September 19th at Lucas Estates. I'm Pastor Nathan Peternell, and Life Church wants to invite you to join us in supporting the fight against sex slavery while partnering with Project Rescue. Enjoy a time of networking, a free breakfast, hear some inspiring stories, and learn how you too can make a difference. Together we can bring hope and freedom to those in need. For more information, go to lifechurchin.com.
The hot summer and the hot deals are coming at Tom Roush Lincoln. 0% for 60 months is back. Get 0% APR for 60 months on every new 2024 Lincoln Navigator. Plus get an additional $4,000 off MSRP. You can also take $3,000 off every new 2024 Lincoln Corsair 70 available. So get in here for one of those hot summer deals at Tom Roush Lincoln in Fishers.
For well-qualified buyers with approved credit, not all buyers will qualify. Taxes and dealer fees extra. Stock number L24401, MSRP 107,425. Stock number L24284, MSRP is 43,435. See dealer for complete details.
Hey, this is Spencer Thompson at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus. Now through Monday, Smith Brothers of Burn Furniture is on sale during the factory authorized sale. 1,000 fabrics, 100 leathers, lifetime warranty, completely custom, made in Indiana. It's the best and it's the lowest price in 2024. Lazy Boy recliners start at $499, and Tempur-Pedic and Stearns & Foster mattresses are up to $900 off. Sale ends Monday only at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus.
Ugh, I've been feeling so sluggish. I'm just kind of blah.
Been there. That's why I take Align yogurt-coated probiotic fruit bites.
But I suppose they taste blah.
Actually, they taste delicious. It's an apple blueberry flavored center covered in a yogurt coating and is infused with probiotics to help support a healthy gut. They come 5 in a pouch. I just toss one in my bag and go.
Toss one in my bag?
Get your own.
New Align yogurt-coated probiotic fruit bites from the makers of the #1 doctor-recommended probiotic brand. Find them in the digestive care aisle.
Brace for the Indiana heat with Chapman Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing. Get your AC tune-up for enduring efficiency and comfort. Visit ChapmanHeating.com.
Remember Chapman, the man for all seasons. ChapmanHeating.com.
So the U.S. economy added 818,000 fewer jobs from March of 23 to March of 24 than what was initially reported by the Bureau of Labor Statistics.
Ooh, that's a lot of jobs, Casey.
Yeah. So I guess what? The Biden administration, they They didn't know the correct numbers, or they exaggerated, or what's going on there?
Well, this happens all the time, and it conveniently always happens in the wrong direction. You notice they never underestimate the amount of jobs that are created. But this happens all the time in government. Like, how many times have we seen articles, say, in the Indiana Capital Chronicle, revenue forecasters for the state of Indiana off, this gargantuan amount of money? So government is the only place where you can have a job and get things wrong all the time, and not just a little bit wrong, like a lot wrong. Like, these people messed up by 800,000 jobs, and nothing ever happens to these people. It's business as usual. Do we have that clip of the labor secretary?
We do.
Can we play it? So this is the labor secretary who is in charge of labor, supposed to, this is her world, right? She should be living in this world. And she gets pressed on this. CNN, right? It was random, confused, likely accidental act of journalism taking place over at CNN.
No, actually, it was on ABC.
I'm sorry. Okay, ABC. And they ask her about this at the DNC convention. And this woman has no idea what they're talking about. She has no idea what's going on. Her default thing, and this is what the Democrats always do, is Trump lied. And the anchor lady is like...
The reporter called her on it.
Yeah, this is your information. Take a listen to this.
When you hear that, do you potentially think that this new numbers could be a liability for this campaign?
No. When I hear that, first of all, I don't believe it, because I've never heard Donald Trump say anything truthful.
It is, though, from the Bureau of Labor.
I'm not familiar with that.
With what? The Bureau of Labor or the revision? The stats? Which part is she not familiar with? Because if it's the Bureau of Labor, she's the Commerce Secretary.
Yeah. Well, she is, look, I got a lot of problems with the Republicans, and those are well documented, but these people are some of the most inept people alive. This woman is, that's her world, right? She lives in this world. Her job is to know everything about this stuff. She clearly has not been told any of this. So who's working under you? And then her default thing is, well, it must be Trump lied. And then to have the audacity to just go, oh, I don't know anything about any of that. With no shame, because she knows nothing will happen. Imagine in your job, like if you were a manager, if you're a manager at some company and there's some horrible thing that happens inside of your department, and when somebody comes to you and is like, hey, Harold, what happened here? You go, well, Frank lied about that. And they're like, Frank didn't have anything to do with this. This is our data. And you're like, I don't know.
I don't know anything about it.
She was just short of going anyways from pulling a Biden, right?
Right, like she didn't even care.
This is your tax money, right? You pay these people. Your hard-earned money, and in this case, because we print so much money now, future generations, your kid and grandkids are paying these people, and they're so inept, and they don't care at all. Like, there's no shame. Wouldn't you be mortified if that was your job to know that, and you look like a complete ass on national television, and then you just slink off and, yeah, whatever. Where's the next party at the DNC?
Well, and when the reporter says, well, this came from the Bureau of Labor, when you go, well, wait a minute, what was that?
Yeah. But how do you not know?
You're giving me new information?
Wouldn't every day when you wake up, wouldn't you be having your assistants, okay, what are the key numbers? How are the jobs looking at? Even things like supply chains. Just all of these things. You'd think the first thing every day when you're that level of influence and power, you would have some sort of cabinet type meeting with your people. Okay, what are the key things that we need to know about? What's the talking points? What are we, whatever. She doesn't even know enough to bull crap it. And the most telling part of that was her default thing was Trump lied. She has no idea if Trump said it. Clearly he didn't say it. They're not accusing him of saying it. Their default, this tells you they're lying to you when they talk about Trump, because she just did it right there and got caught red-handed.
Well, I guess saying we created 14.1 million jobs doesn't have the ring to it that 15 million does.
All right, Merritt's going to be with us when we come back. We're going to talk about, of course, the big deal yesterday, which was the endorsement. I lost, I lost some friends that were never my friends yesterday.
I know
Casey.
you did.
The libertarians are very mad at me, and I guess if your entire campaign hinged upon a radio guy, then I don't know. I guess it's easier to be mad at the radio guy than do any sort of self-reflection whatsoever. But we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the condition of politics in the state of Indiana. We'll preview the upcoming elections. A lot to get into.
It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Well, the various cable news outlets have all been reporting that home prices are expected to actually decline into 2025, even after the election. So that means you're going to want to maximize your home sales price now before this downturn, with the agent proven to sell for top dollar. That's Mark Dietel. Sarah had an investment property in Fountain Square, ran into some financial trouble and needed to unload the place fast. Hired Mark Dietel. He was able to sell the property within weeks for over list price.
Mark Dietel is the only real estate expert that we trust and recommend here on the Hammer and Nigel show. Mark Dietel guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. You pick the move date, no long-term contracts. You can cancel at any time. Call Mark Dietel today, 317-755-4232, or go online to markdietel.com. That's Mark, D-I-E-T-E-L, markdietel.com.
David was in big trouble with the IRS.
At first, I didn't owe that much, but after this year, it was out of control.
Then David called Get a Tax Lawyer.
Right away, they were like, oh yeah, looks like you're qualified to say
Get a Tax Lawyer went to work.
Should have called way sooner.
Get a Tax Lawyer has helped thousands like David fight the IRS and get a fresh start.
Call 800-745-3070. That's 800-745-3070.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Pepping up the Dems. It's sunny and 62 on Monument Circle. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 9:30. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz is accepting the nomination to be the next vice president.
We're all here tonight for one beautiful, simple reason. We love this country.
Walz accepted the nomination at last night's Democratic National Convention, the third night of it. In a keynote address that has been likened to a pep talk, the former high school football coach called on Democrats to leave it all on the field when it comes to this November's election. Robert F. Kennedy is expected to drop out of the 2024 presidential race and support former President Trump. The long-shot independent candidate says he will be addressing America on Friday in Arizona and will discuss the present historical moment and his path forward. Ford says that it is holding off on its all-electric SUV plan. Chief Financial Officer John Lawler said on Wednesday that those plans are now on hold while the company works on a hybrid version of the SUV. Your opening bell report on 93 WIBC, brought to you by Absolute Wealth Management, LLC. Still continuing a good week on Wall Street. The Dow was up 49 to 41,055. The NASDAQ up 92 to 20,001. And the S&P 500 is up 16 to 5,657. I'm Kurt Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
It's happening. Indiana is investing in our hometowns. Statewide, each region selected the local projects most important to our quality of life. And with the help of Indiana Ready grants, real progress is all around us. With the help of a $1 million Ready grant, the City of Kokomo and Ivy Tech's new Industry 4.0 training lab will help revitalize the region and train workers in cutting-edge 4.0 smart manufacturing systems. Over $3 million in Ready grant money for major road and infrastructure improvements in Peru is helping bolster the city's exciting new developments along the Wabash Riverfront and Riverwalk Way. It took bold thinking and working together to put Ready into action. And there's more to come. Learn more at IndianaReady.com. That's Indiana, READI.com. Brought to you by the Indiana Economic Development Corporation. ForTheBold.com.
Research shows smoking costs Indiana businesses $3.1 billion every year. It also shows that an extra $2 per pack tax on cigarettes would drastically reduce smoking, which could save lives, create jobs, and infuse the state of Indiana with hundreds of millions of dollars annually. Read the reports from the Richard M. Fairbanks Foundation at thepriceofsmoking.org and see for yourself how an extra $2 per pack tax on cigarettes can have a positive impact on Hoosiers.
Healthcare.gov is here for you when life happens.
If you lost your health coverage because of turning 26, going off Medicaid, leaving your job, or moving, you could be eligible to enroll in new coverage now. And if you need to update your coverage because of marriage or having a baby, you could also be eligible. But don't wait. There's a limited time to enroll. Check your eligibility at healthcare.gov today. Life happens. Get covered. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Hi, this is Denny Smith, and I don't think folks really appreciate just how bad indoor air quality is this time of year. Between the pollen and dirt, dander, and who knows what else, it takes a professional to clean them out of your ductwork and your carpets. How about having Zero Res help you take on all of that with a great August special? Get 3 rooms Zero Resified starting at just $119 and take 20% off their duct cleaning services too. For the record, this isn't your normal cleaning of ductwork and carpets. The new H2 HyperVac truck is Zero Res's amazingly efficient tool to clean your ducts effectively. And after cleaning the ductwork, don't forget to clean the largest air filter in your home, your carpets, with the ZR Water Difference. No soap, no residue, no harsh chemicals, leaving things really clean. Now mention WIBC and get 3 rooms of carpet cleaning starting at $119, plus you get 20% off their very effective duct cleaning. Call 317-388-5141. Book online at ZeroResIndy.com.
To celebrate Be Employee Owned, Be's offering employee pricing 60% off plus 18 months, no interest, no payment.
Proud to be employee owned. Trust me.
Oh my goodness, look who it is.
Good morning.
Yes, it is the most kindest, most well-respected, most decent man in all of Indiana politics and government, the great Jim Merritt, hello.
Robert.
It is the Kendall Casey Show, by the way. I'm Rob. Casey's here. All right, so against your advice, I did the endorsement yesterday.
Yes, you did.
I went in on Braun. Braun will be here at 10:15. We'll have a little come-together moment. And,
I think that's terrific. I have not been to a political event.
Are you proud of me, Dad?
I am very proud of you. And I counseled against it.
Yeah.
But because you're kind of a media guy.
Yeah.
And I come from, 49 years of being in politics. And 49 years ago, media and politics were kind of separate, and there were no endorsements. But now it's Katie by the door.
Well, so we did it for a couple reasons. We talked about it, and one of the primary reasons was we have a lot of lazy voters in our society. And
Absolutely.
People don't put any effort
A lot
into
of people will not vote.
And I said, look, if I can talk about the effort that I put into voting and the process that I went through, maybe it will, even if you don't agree with who I ultimately chose, maybe it'll inspire you.
I think you're setting a good example
Thank
for
you.
once.
That's what I do. For once. There we go. Here's the reality.
Olivia would be proud of you.
Well, here's the reality of the situation. And by the way, I am very, very disappointed in my, I guess they weren't ever friends after all, but so many libertarians who, let's face it, Jim, no one has done more for the libertarians than me. Some of them were very nasty yesterday. Not even a thank you.
That's a real shame, but not surprising. People are frustrated when they don't get the nod. And, our friends, Kloppenstein, he wouldn't do that. Mr. Rutherford, Mark Rutherford, these Evan McMahon, who we had on our show.
Right.
Those folks are stand-up men.
Oh, they're great. I'm not talking about them at all. But, it's just like, I said, if you wait a second. If your guy's whole campaign depended on a radio guy endorsing him.
Yeah, you need a life.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Let's look at the state of the party and the candidate. And I mean, come on. I get that we're important, but we shouldn't be the whole thing. And I mean, the reality of it is this: Braun's going to win.
Yes.
And then, from my perspective, if you know the guy's going to win, and he's extended the olive branch of saying, "Hey, you guys have been treated pretty bad the last 7.5 years. You got a lot of good ideas. You're right on a lot of things. I want to hear what you have to say." You'd be a complete idiot to reject that if no matter what you do, the guy's going to be in there anyway, because now we have the ability to help drive policy, drive agenda, help him get things across the finish line. It's crazy to do anything other than to endorse Mike Braun.
Well, I think it will benefit both parties. I think it'll benefit WIBC, but it will also benefit Mike Braun and Micah Beckwith. And I think that's a winning combination.
Yeah, and you're the perfect person to speak to this because you obviously spent 30 years in the State House. And my logic behind it is this. If the guy's going to be governor regardless, yeah, I could endorse rainwater and have a lot of fun for a couple of months and probably cost Braun another 6, 7, maybe 8% of the vote. But if he goes in there at 48 to 50% of the vote, he still gets to be the governor. Now you have no line of communication.
Yeah.
You don't have any influence.
Well, he has no mandate.
And more importantly, he has no mandate, which means you're going to be left to the General Assembly to figure out property taxes.
Mm-hmm.
And based on the past several years of that, you don't want any part of that.
Mm-hmm.
You need the governor to come in there with a clear mandate, 55, 56, 57% of the vote, and say, people voted for me. I ran on this, and use the power of that office and Braun's personality and Mike, with Micah there helping him, and get these guys to move on property taxes. This is your people. Rainwater's plan was better. Braun this, Braun that. Braun having the ability and the juice to drive the General Assembly, if we're being remotely honest with ourselves, is the only way meaningful property tax reform gets done. You spent 30 years in the General Assembly. Is that an accurate assessment?
Absolutely. It's the key to change. And I've not been to a political event for a long time, but I went to one the other day of which you weren't invited.
No, I don't.
And I would be worried about your security.
Maybe I will get invited now.
Maybe you would. And but the bottom line is that when I listened to Senator Braun at this last Saturday at an event, he started talking about government efficiency, and this kind of lined up with what Musk and Trump talked about on his Twitter, X town hall meeting, where we're talking about efficiency, we're talking about accountability in government, and if you're going to cut property taxes and reform property taxes, the other one of the legs of the stool is government efficiency and accountability. Governor Braun is going to need a mandate to go in and take that bureaucracy. And the reason why I say this is the Republicans have been in charge for 20 years, of which I am one, and I was there, and I am a Republican. But after 20 years, you need a complete look. And if I was going to run a corporation or a government, I'd want to audit it to know what I'm leading. And that is what Braun is going to have to do. And he really talked eloquently at this fundraiser about government efficiency, about combing out all these departments, 35 or 40 different departments in the state government, and really getting to the point of measuring success. And that's all about efficiency. It's all about what we need and what we don't need. And I'm really glad that Elon Musk has this interest in the federal government as well.
There's kind of three things I really care about, and it's the life issue.
Yes.
It's education.
Yes.
And it's this property tax deal.
Mm-hmm.
And I have no doubt Braun will be fine on life. The Indiana abortion law is very good. It's very pro-life. That will not change under Braun, so we'll check that box.
Not. Check that box.
Braun is fully committed to school choice,
yes,
which is a major player in reforming the public education system. That universal school choice bill, where you as a parent, your kid will be assigned a dollar amount,
driving the issue, no question about it.
I think Braun will lead that passage next year, so let's check that box. And then it comes to the third one, which is property taxes. And I've got three choices. I've got McCormick, who, just on the life issue alone is a non-starter, but her property tax plan is completely ridiculous too. And so then it comes down to rainwater, or it comes down to Braun. And is if in a totally ideological world, maybe do I like Rainwater's plan better? Sure. But there's zero mechanism, one, by which Donald Rainwater is going to win the governorship. Let's face it. Part of being a good candidate is raising money and party infrastructure. And the Libertarians, with that gift they got in 2020, have raised almost no money. And there's minimal state infrastructure. And where's the national party? There's no national party coming in. So, Don, and Don's a friend and I like him, but the Don and the Libertarians did not. If Don had raised $1 million, I'd be going, okay, now I'm believing, right? Like I'm seeing momentum that you're building off of. He hasn't done. He barely raised enough to get on the debate stage, which I'm glad he's on the debate stage. But it is ludicrous to say that, like, I am somehow all I got all these years for promoting the Libertarians is radios being turned off. But I still promoted them because I agree with voices being heard and agree with the cause. And all I got for that, yesterday it was like like I was Benedict Arnold or something, and it's like, no one's been better to you people than me. How about just a thanks?
Well, you have given a voice to McCormick. You've given a voice to Rainwater. You've now given a confirmation to Braun, and he is going to win. I've been talking on these airways for a long, long time that whoever wins the primary is going to win the governor's chair, and it's a Trump year. There are very few Republicans that are south of Indianapolis, very few Democrats that are south of Indianapolis, and this is going to be a very conservative victory by the Republican Party in 2024.
Jim Merritt's our guest. Couple minutes left here with him. Is there any race of the big four, which is president, attorney general, governor, senator? Is there any race where you see the Democrat being competitive?
I don't. I think it all goes back to money. I think the Republican Party and the people that are representing us on the ballot have free reign. I think Destiny Wells and the Attorney General's race has peaked up a little bit, but I think it's going to be another Republican year, and most people really go into the ballot box whenever they do it in October, and they look at Trump, they vote, and then they vote the Republican Party.
Yeah, and the Destiny Wells thing is interesting because we keep hearing what a great candidate she is. She got smoked by Diego. Yeah. Todd Rokita, and people know my opinion of Rokita personally on a lot of things. Todd Rokita is an infinitely better candidate than Diego.
Absolutely.
Todd Rokita never loses other than when he ran into Mike Braun's money. Well, Destiny Wells doesn't have Mike Braun's money. He's a tremendous campaigner. Indiana's a red state. That may end up being the closest race, just depending on the actual trouble Rokita might be in by the time.
That's inside the state house.
Yeah, and then you even wonder about that. Does that even matter to most people?
Yeah, people are just concerned about grocery prices.
Right you know how the Indiana State House operates better than anybody. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to make a statement, and you can say true or false, and then we'll wrap it up, all right?
Mm-hmm.
If you want property tax reform done, if you want meaningful property tax reform done that is going to save you money in the future and actually provide meaningful financial relief to you and your family, the only way to ensure that gets done or have a chance of ensuring that gets done is for Mike Braun to roll in there with the mandate next year.
Yes, I think that's true. Although I will say this, that Senator Travis Holdman has been busy at work. They feel some pressure, but a mandate would apply more.
What's coming up?
What's coming up?
Merit in the Morning podcast.
Merit in the Morning. We're gonna be talking to a lot of people this fall, and one of those is Donald Rainwater.
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm. In October.
Even though I've been treated very poorly by the Libertarians, I still support their voices being heard.
Well, that's what Merit in the Morning does. It gives a voice to everybody.
Find it on YouTube and Facebook, Merit in the Morning. Find him on Twitter at Jim_Merritt. You're the best. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kendall Casey Show, 93 WIBC.
Tomorrow on Tony Katz of the Morning News, day 3 of the DNC, and did RFK get out of the RACE? Man, that is a lot of letters instead of words, isn't it? 6 to 9 a.m., Tony Katz of the Morning News, right here on 93 WIBC. I did it again. Pain from arthritis is just awful. That bone-on-bone pain is constant, and it robs you of so much of the stuff you love to do, but there are effective ways to deal with that pain. Tony Katz here. There are exciting new therapies that can get you lasting relief, and the place to go is QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics uses cutting-edge treatments that accelerate your own body's healing properties, revitalizing your joints so you can move again. If you're living with chronic pain from arthritis or injury, you need to know steroids and surgery and pain pills are no longer your only option. Learn how QC Kinetics can use advanced regenerative medicine to treat the pain, enhance your joints, restore your mobility, and give you long-term relief with no downtime. Talk to the medical professionals at QC Kinetics. Get your free consultation right now. QC Kinetics in Eagle Creek, in Greenwood, and in Carmel. Call 317-559-PAIN. 317-559-PAIN. Tell them Tony Katz sent you. Eagle Creek, Greenwood, Carmel, QC Kinetics. 317-559-PAIN.
Tomorrow starts at IU Indianapolis. Our students are the engine of Indiana's future, in powerful partnership with the country's leading businesses and organizations. We prepare each student to make impacts that matter right here at home, inspiring bold endeavors and life-changing careers. Bring on tomorrow, IU Indianapolis. Discover how we're powering what's possible at go.iu.edu/tomorrow.
At Uline, they know firsthand the road to success is an uphill climb. Uline started in the family basement, and through hard work is now North America's most trusted shipping and industrial supplier. They get what it means to have the support of reliable, hardworking partners. So they keep 41,000 items ready to ship. Whether your company is still in a basement office or expanding cross-country, Uline will be there on your road to success. Visit uline.com.
The hot summer and the hot deals are coming at Tom Roush Lincoln. 0% for 60 months is back. Get 0% APR for 60 months on every new 2024 Lincoln Navigator. Plus get an additional $4,000 off MSRP. You can also take $3,000 off every new 2024 Lincoln Corsair 70 available. So get in here for one of those hot summer deals at Tom Roush Lincoln in Fishers.
For well-qualified buyers with approved credit. Not all buyers will qualify. Taxes and dealer fees extra. Stock number L24401. MSRP 107,425. Stock number L24284. MSRP is 43,435. See dealer for complete details.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer whenever I want?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. 94% of Sleep Number smart sleepers report better sleep. J.D. Power ranks Sleep Number #1 in customer satisfaction with mattresses purchased in-store. And now, during our biggest sale of the year, save 50% on the Sleep Number Limited Edition smart bed. Limited time. For J.D. Power 2023 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. To find a store near you, visit sleepnumber.com.
Aren't you worried Max might run off? He's safe. We installed invisible fence. See a special collar? So he can roam freely but won't leave the yard? Exactly. And it was so easy. Invisible fence installed everything and even sent out an expert to train Max.
I need invisible fence for Roxy.
Go to invisiblefence.com to get started today, absolutely risk-free. Give your pet freedom and safety. Go to invisiblefence.com right now and schedule your free consultation. Go to invisiblefence.com. That's invisiblefence.com.
Join WIBC this Saturday 9 to 1 for the Home and Garden Show live from Sullivan Hardware. Meet us at 71st and Keystone for live music, big green egg demos, and a lot of food during Indie Egg Fest at Sullivan Hardware, 71st and Keystone.
Wait.
What?
The bathroom is still broken?
Well, the toilet works, but there's no hand towels. So I can wash my hands, and then there's nothing to dry them with. So I'm sitting there, air drying.
Yeah. It's Kendall and Casey show. I'm Rob. That's Casey. So during the break, you were telling me that the women's restroom,
which has lovely fake flowers and some nice scented soap, but there's no towels to dry your hands.
You know what I think the theory is on this is Mr. Smolian, who still owns this building. He's totally checked out. I mean, at this point, obviously, he doesn't own any of these radio stations.
Yeah.
We have some sort of deal to still be here, and the deal was, I'm going to keep it at 83 degrees in the summer and 61 degrees in the winter.
Right.
You'll get one roll of paper towels a week. And if you don't like it, you can go somewhere else.
No, but it's been like that for a while now.
The lack of paper towels?
Yes.
Well, there's a lovely lady who goes around each day.
I know. I saw her earlier, and I always say hi to her. I'm really friendly. Well, because I thought, because I used the other bathroom the other day, and it had towels.
The one in the middle there?
Yeah, the unisex one.
Why do you keep using that bathroom? Do you know the things that have taken place in that bathroom?
You know what? Sometimes when you got to go, you got to go. It's the closest to the studio.
Yeah, here's a little trick for you, and I'm not saying you have to do this.
Bring in my own paper towels?
No, you shouldn't have to do that. That's terrible. The basement bathroom in the gym.
Yeah.
Nobody obviously goes down to that gym anymore. It's wide open. You can let whatever you want fly, and nobody's there to stop you or anything because you will be the only person down there in that gymnasium bathroom.
Now, Kevin goes down to the gym, and he works out down there sometimes.
Yeah, and I do use that bathroom.
But not
the women's bathroom, though, right?
No, there's a male and female bathroom.
Not in the morning, though. Like you would go after our show, correct?
Actually, in the mornings, I go to the first floor restroom.
Yeah, but I'm saying
there's privacy.
You're not down there in the gym in the morning.
That's in the afternoon.
The lights are never on. There's never anybody down there. Okay. I mean, you can just have your way with that bathroom, and nobody will know it's you.
I don't even really. It's just a quick potty break, but it's frustrating.
Well, I do think hand towels. I mean, Mr. Smolian, we love you, and we know you loved radio, and you loved this radio station, and you tolerated many of us that are still here.
Yeah, many of us.
If we could just have some hand towels. That'd be very helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, so then I try and grab some toilet paper and use that. And, it just gets wet and kind of flakes off on your hands.
There's an episode of Seinfeld. We go through this with the cups all the time. Where I always have to go up to the 5th floor to get the cups.
Mm-hmm.
There's an episode of Seinfeld. Remember where they're trying to get rid of him and George, and they make it impossible for him to get into his office, and he keeps finding ways to get in. That is us now.
Right.
We are becoming George Costanza. And I just,
Well, the key card still works.
Look, I think we have some sort of lease here, so we're not leaving. So we might as well just all get along. And if we could have a reasonable supply of cups and paper towels, that'll suffice.
And the printer could work, and the internet could work. Those would be good things.
I always heard Mr. Smolian had his own bathroom on 7, connected to his.
Oh, so that's the real
penthouse
bathroom
office.
He probably has cloth towels.
We can't get up there, yeah, he probably does. We can't get up there anymore. We used to be able to. Our key would work, but then as soon as he sold the radio stations, he immediately.
Is that where you were going to get the candy?
And the sodas.
Mm-hmm. The good stuff. It's all up there, isn't it?
Sweet Karen up there on 7 had a little mini fridge that was unknown to most people, but she took pity on me, and she would sell me those cold canned sodas.
Half price?
50 cents each.
That's a good deal.
So for $1, you could get one for today and one for tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And this was even, the pre-inflation days. You could that was still a pretty reasonable price.
You're not doing any soda right now, though.
No, I got what? Let's see. Today is what is today? Thursday. So
Correct.
I got Friday, Saturday. I got 3 days left. And you'll be proud of me. On the 5th floor, there was a big box of cupcakes with frosting
Really?
and everything, and it just said "take one." And I started to go for it, and then I thought, no,
you can't do that.
I'm
That's
on the no sweets thing.
Yeah, that's not on the diet.
So I was on the honor system, and I did not.
Good for you.
Go for. Yeah.
You are showing some real willpower.
Showed a lot of growth.
Are you craving sugar at this point? Nah. It's already out of your system. What is it? 21 days to make a habit?
That's what they say. They say 21 days to make a habit.
Okay. And, are you going to keep going after 21 days? Or are you going to get the biggest brownie you can find?
I don't know, because I've lost. I feel like I'm down in the 150s. We talked about this before. I've been as low as 145. I've been as high as 180. I'm at 157-ish right now.
Yeah.
Clothes fit a little better. But, man, I just really do want to chug today coming into work. It's I would love to get a big gulp. Carl is just sprinting in here. Oh, you got the good cups, Carl.
Look at him.
Man, Kevin, aren't you ashamed?
Gosh, Carl shows you up every day, Kevin. Every day he does something.
There's more on the way.
Yeah, we've got Mike Braun who's going to be joining us in just a little bit. It is Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Greetings from R&R Agency, your Indiana health insurance pros. And a thank you to our loyal customers for making our agency a national sales leader for the 7th straight year. We recently saved a family of 4 over $500 monthly when compared to their ACA plan. It's still Obamacare, right? We've recently saved a 61-year-old retiring couple over $600 when compared to their COBRA plan. Breaking news. We are now able to offer health insurance to employer groups of all sizes with 2 of the largest insurers in the Midwest. We'll be here when you need us. Quoting my favorite president, what the heck do you have to lose? We can help. As always, God bless America, or at least what's left of her.
Call Ron or Terry at 317-563-0868. That's 317-563-0868. Or go to rragency.org. That's rragency.org. A health plan managed and chosen by you, not the government.
Americans love using their credit cards, the most secure and hassle-free way to pay. But D.C. politicians want to change that with the Durbin-Marshall credit card bill. This bill lets corporate megastores pick how your credit card is processed, allowing them to use untested payment networks that jeopardize your data security and rewards. Corporate megastores will make more money, and you pay the price. Tell Congress to guard your card, because Americans lose when politicians choose. Learn more at guardyourcard.com. Paid for by the Electronic Payments Coalition.
Discover cancer care that empowers you at Community Health Network MD Anderson Cancer Center. Our multidisciplinary care team will guide you every step along the way.
It was very overwhelming at first, but I found this whole community of people who are understanding and just very supportive. So I have a lot of thankfulness and gratefulness for who I am through this and after this.
Learn more at ecommunity.com/cancer.
The best things in life, they come in twos. 2 scoops of ice cream, 2 tacos. And now for a limited time, get our best deal of the year. Buy any phone when you switch to Consumer Cellular and get 2 months of service free. That's right, the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage as Big Wireless, now with 2 months free. Proof the best things in life really do come in twos. Visit consumercellular.com or call 1-888-FREEDOM. Second and third month of monthly base service fee waived for new customers with the purchase of a phone and activation by September 2nd, 2024. Taxes, fees, and third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
2 hours ago, Kyle arrived at the bar.
Hey, what's everyone drinking?
30 minutes ago, Kyle got his friends another round of drinks.
Cheers!
5 minutes ago, Kyle decided to drive home drunk. A minute ago, a law enforcement officer pulled up behind Kyle.
Sir, have you been drinking tonight?
A chain of events that began 2 hours ago is about to change Kyle's whole world. Drive sober or get pulled over. Paid for by NHTSA.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer whenever I want?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. 94% of Sleep Number smart sleepers report better sleep. JD Power ranks Sleep Number #1 in customer satisfaction with mattresses purchased in-store. And now, during our biggest sale of the year, save 50% on the Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Limited time. For JD Power 2023 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. To find a store near you, visit sleepnumber.com.
Coming up in 2 minutes, how this former mayor in Indiana hyped up Democrats last night. Plus, some body camera footage sheds some light on what happened at Purdue Fort Wayne, and getting to know some of the new IU football players on the team this year. I'm Kirk Darling. That and more coming up from the Technology Recyclers studios after Fox News Radio. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 10 o'clock.
This will be the last day for the Democratic Convention. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News, and former President Trump is glad it's almost over.
The whole thing is like we're living in a fantasy land. And then I see the people, it's like they're having a party. They don't mention the border. All they do is make up lies about me.
Tonight, his rival, Vice President Harris, will accept the nomination, hoping to replace President Biden.
She is worse than him because she's actually a radical left Marxist. That's what she is. That's what she's always going to be.
Now, the former president on Fox and Friends this morning before campaigning in his 4th battleground state this week, Arizona. He'll rail against record illegal immigration after he left office.
We kept criminals out. Now you have murderers, drug dealers.
The former president also called Harris's running mate, Tim Walz, a lightweight. He accepted the Democratic VP nomination last night.
Leaders don't spend all day insulting people and blaming others.
Minnesota Governor Tim Walz called the Trump agenda extreme, dangerous, and weird.
I'm ready to turn the page on these guys. So go ahead. Say it with me. We're not going back.
Well, tonight they might chant for their nominee when Vice President Harris closes out the convention with her speech. Now, all week there have been pro-Palestinian protests near the convention site, some outside the Israeli consulate. Dozens of demonstrators have been arrested, clashing with police.
Tonight is supposed to be really the big push for a big crowd. And some law enforcement veterans are warning that there are extremist groups among these protesters who may really think they have an interest in creating violence tonight.
That's Fox's Steve Harrigan in Chicago. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky has toured a Russian border area, claiming his troops have taken over another village inside Russia after a counter-invasion, taking control of Russian territory. He also said they've replenished their exchange fund, which is what Zelensky calls the Russian soldiers captured. He hopes to swap them for Ukrainian prisoners. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Taking digs at his VP selection. It's 67 and sunny downtown. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 10:02. Pete Buttigieg, who used to be the mayor of South Bend, rallied Democrats at the DNC in Chicago on Wednesday. He took some jabs at Donald Trump.
And don't even get me started on his new running mate. At least Mike Pence was polite.
Buttigieg said Democrats are practicing the right kind of politics and urged you to vote for Kamala Harris. A big drug bust in Johnson County. Several police agencies say almost 60 arrest warrants were served throughout the county. Johnson County Sheriff Dwayne Burgess says it all took about a few months to complete. Body cam footage from the fatal police shooting of Jawan Benson on July 30th has been released. That's from up at the Purdue Fort Wayne campus. Earlier that day, the DeKalb County Sheriff called Fort Wayne dispatchers explaining that Benson may be in the area.
It appears that he may have gone to his ex-girlfriend's house and taken some things. One of the things he supposedly has taken is a Glock 9mm, so he may have that on his person.
When officers found him on the Purdue Fort Wayne campus, he apparently had the gun and did not cooperate, so they eventually shot him. 23 years in prison after he worked with others to buy meth from California. Sasha Nixon.
Brandon James apparently intended for the drugs to make it back to the Midwest, but officers found them in Missouri. In addition to James, 3 others will also be spending time behind bars, according to the Department of Justice. Benjamin Hicks was sentenced to more than 24 years, Terrence Reed to more than 12 years, and Kelvin Franklin to 9 years. Sasha Nixon, 93, WIBC Mobile News.
Several players who played at James Madison University have followed their head coach, Kurt Cignetti, to IU. One of them is running back Tyson Lawton.
You know, I'm kind of like the quiet guy. I feel like I'm more of a leader by showing what I could do, like, on the field.
IU's first game is on August 31st against FIU. I'm Kirk Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Are you ready to smell better naked? I'm Dr. Shannon Klingman, the OBGYN creator of Lumi, the whole body deodorant that's clinically proven to control odor for 72 hours on pits, feet, privates, and beyond. It's pH optimized to safely and effectively control odor anywhere you have it, but wish you didn't. Plus, it's proven to work better than a shower with soap alone. Whether you shower twice a day or 3 times a week, Lumi works better. And who doesn't want zero body odor? With over 200,000 5-star reviews, I'm so sure you're going to love it, or you can return it for free.
There's a special offer for listeners. Use code BETTER and get 15% off your first purchase with code BETTER, like the Lumi Starter Pack, Acidified Body Wash, or new Lumi Plus Sweat Control. That's LUME deodorant.com, code BETTER for 15% off your first purchase. Love it or return it for free. That's LUME deodorant.com, code BETTER to save 15% today.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Thursday, August 22nd. It's 5 minutes after 10. He's Rob Kendall. My name is Casey Daniels. And in just a bit, Senator Mike Braun will be joining us. And we'll have a nice conversation with him.
Do you think I dressed up enough today? I was going to leave the house, and my wife was like, you cannot go out of the house looking like that.
Oh, what were you originally wearing?
Well, the same stuff I always wear. You know,
T-shirt?
I don't think it was inappropriate.
Hoodie?
Yeah, it wasn't like inappropriate. And she's like, your new friend is coming in today.
Your
She's
new
like,
bestie's on the way.
You can't dress like that in front of your new friend.
Yeah, you're wearing a button down. You look real sharp.
I mean,
real nice.
I mean, this is not, I'm wearing jeans. It's not like this is, I'm not dressed up as though I'm going to the,
I did notice, though,
congressional hearing or anything.
You're not wearing gym shoes, though. I mean, those are like dress shoes.
That's what I'm saying. She was like, you cannot.
Yeah, you stepped it up a notch.
She's like, you have to put your best foot forward with your new best friend today. So
that's what you're calling him now, huh? Your new best friend, your bestie. You guys gonna go have some beers? We should totally invite him to do Beer Bong Friday with Hammer and Nigel.
Hammer and Nigel. I bet he totally would.
I mean, like, I know it's not my place to invite them to their show.
Oh, they love that.
But if he were to say yes.
Braun's a Southern Indiana guy. You know he's pounded a few brews before.
I wonder what his brand is.
I don't know. You can ask him.
Yeah, we'll have to ask him that. Inquiring minds want to know. I mean, we're going to get to the important stuff.
Yes, very much.
Let's talk about what Chris Cuomo did last night at the DNC. He was tearing into what he described corporate influence at the Democrat National Convention.
Why didn't he do this when he was at CNN?
You know what? I was thinking about that. I'm wondering if, one, now that he's not at CNN and he's with News Nation, it's a smaller operation, the handcuffs are off. He can say what he wants, or he's just bitter.
Well, you hit the nail on the head. It's one of two things. I don't know which is worse. Either CNN was blatantly manipulating what he was allowed to talk about, which is totally plausible, and that's really bad, or he was such a shill that as long as there was some financial benefit to him, he was willing to say whatever he needed to say so that he would be able to keep the thing that he has. And I don't know which one of those. That's the one great thing about this place. Like, they don't tell us what to say. Sometimes after we say it, they'll be like, did you really say that? But they don't, like, they just are like, whatever. It's your show. You guys say your opinions. There's 7 words you can't say, and use good discretion.
Yeah. It's interesting, though, that he went on this rant while the theme of the convention has been corporate price gouging and promises. So it's the dichotomy there of what he's saying and what their theme is.
Yeah. So do we have the audio of this?
We do.
All right.
Here we go.
Greg, look at the ring of sweets, okay? This is not unique to Democrats. There is a game of money. When people talk about uniparty, we are strangled by the money reality in our politics. Those sweets start at 500 grand. You think there's like a teacher group up in there? You think it's like the Cub Scouts of Columbia County, South Carolina, that's up in those boxes? Some of them are lobbies and good things. The media boxes, you think they're free? Why do you think I'm on the floor? News Nation is not a broke company. Nexstar is a massive organization. We are corporate media. We don't have one of those boxes because that's the game. You pay to play. Those boxes are filled with the same people that they say they're going to regulate. They are literally looking down on the faithful and being told, yeah, we're going to break down on them. We're going to make them pay their share. They paid $500, $700, $1 million, $1.5 million to have those seats. They get hotel suites that are probably gifted to the party. And the same thing is true with the Republican side. And they're going to take them down. They're going to change how it is. They are looking down from on high at the people who make the difference in their communities. And that is the reality of politics.
This is the guy that teamed up with his brother to manipulate COVID information. And he has the audacity to talk about how the parties behave and how the politicians behave and how it's all the fix is in.
So all
Color
of a
me just a
sudden,
little skeptical there, Casey.
Little hypocritical. All of a sudden, he's being honest. Apparently, he's telling his brother Andrew to quit thinking about politics. Like, he wants him out of the game completely.
He is out of the game completely, isn't he?
Like, they don't even.
Didn't he quit?
Yeah, he doesn't even want to talk about politics with his brother anymore. He said the media is a dirty business, but it's not nearly as ugly as elected politics.
Yeah, he hit on something important, though, and he's right. I mean, he's, of course, totally disingenuous, and he did none of this when he was at CNN. But he is right. It is both of these teams are run by outside influence. It's different outside influences. Sometimes it's the same outside influence. I mean, my wife and I were having this conversation yesterday about all of these things that these liberals are getting up there and saying, and we're going to this and we're going to that. And it's like, Democrats have had the presidency 12 of the last 16 years. Why haven't you done it? At multiple times over the past, 15 years, they've had the entire government at their disposal. They've had the House, the Senate, the presidency. Why didn't you do something about it? Just the last 2 years until the Republicans got the House. They had all of the branches of government. They don't do it because they're invested in an end result. They lie to people. They don't care about you. They care about pushing their special interest. They get these lunatics on these various issues, whether it's Hamas or abortion, all ginned up. Bernie, they send Bernie, who's a millionaire. Who, by the way, Bernie Sanders doesn't talk about millionaires anymore. Now it's billionaires.
Sure.
Out there to talk about how they're going to get the millionaires or billionaires or whatever. And then they follow him up with a billionaire who got his money from his grandpa. All of these people, they're all highly fraudulent, and he's right, but he's highly fraudulent too. And it's just, it's utterly ridiculous.
I keep getting the feeling that they think that Donald Trump is the current president.
Well, they want you to think that.
That's the way they're positioning everything, is we're going to change things and hope is on the way. You guys are the ones who have the White House right now.
Well, in fairness, every time something happens where our boss needs to have a stern talking with us, I always do that and say, well, Casey's in charge. I mean, that's basically what they're doing, right? Like, they act like they're not in charge of the government, and they're basically doing when I go into our meeting with David and go, yeah, that was Casey's a terrible influence.
That was all her. Thanks. Well, at least I have a heads up. Now I know what's going on. Did you see the study that was released by Charles Schwab? They said that the average American thinks it takes $2.5 million to be considered wealthy this year.
Isn't that a wild number? Because as a kid, now kid numbers are inflated, but as a kid, if someone was a millionaire, to me, they were super rich. You're not rich at all if you're a millionaire. I bet most middle-income people, like legitimately middle-class people, certainly people who trend towards the upper side of the middle class, would have $1 million worth of net worth, and you wouldn't think of them as being rich.
Okay, now it's 2.5 to be considered wealthy. Just to be financially comfortable, it's close to $1 million.
Yeah.
They say that you have to have a net worth of $778,000.
Well, you think about that, $50,000 a year. If you're an individual, a single, that doesn't make you rich at all. Well, that's just 20 years of $50,000 a year. It's not that much money. If somebody makes $100,000 a year is not rich anymore. That's 10 years of $100,000 a year. So inflation kind of sucks.
Yeah.
You know what else sucks?
What?
Property taxes.
That's true.
I saw Mike Braun. He was peeking around the corner.
Does he walk in the hallway?
Well, somebody got to let him know.
Don't go in the bathroom. There's no hand towels.
Well, you let him know we're friends now. He can just walk on in here whenever he wants.
Oh,
it's part of the privilege.
Okay.
I'm sure he's going to be that way. Yeah, here he comes. Yeah. We'll make a deal with him when he comes in here. He can come in our office whenever he wants, and we can come in his office at the state.
Is that the way it works? We're just going to walk into the governor's office.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anytime we want. Come on in, Senator Braun.
All right, let's take a break. We'll talk to Mike Braun next.
It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel.
Harris is there right now. She's the de facto president because, let's be honest, President Applesauce Brains isn't calling the shots. It's her and the Obamas. And they're talking about how we need to have hope in this country. Donald Trump has not been the president for nearly 4 years now. And 12 of the last 16 years has been Democrat leadership. So why do we need hope? This is your doing. It's ridiculous.
Hammer and Nigel, weekdays 3 till 7 on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
CNN, other news sources are reporting home prices are expected to decline into 2025, even after the election. Maximize your home sales price now, before this downturn, with the agent proven to sell for top dollar, Mark Dietel. Perhaps you're worried about settling for less money with a low-ball instant offer. Mark Dietel guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed-upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. Listen to what Tom and Kim from Sharpeville had to say about working with Mark Dietel. We were wanting to move to Florida and looking to sell our home. We wanted to sell quick with an agent who would maximize the sales price. After being approached by Mark Dietel's team, we knew they were right for us. It was incredible. Mark sold our home on the first day at full price. Call the local Indianapolis agent I trust and recommend, and the agent who guarantees your home sold, or he'll buy it. Call Mark Dietel at 317-755-4232 for all the details, or go online to markdietel.com. That's Mark, Dietel.com, markdietel.com. Tell him Rob sent you.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for up to half the cost. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Savings based on cost of Consumer Cellular single line 1, 5, and 10 gig data plans with unlimited talk and text compared to lowest cost single line postpaid unlimited talk, text, and data plans offered by T-Mobile and Verizon January 2024.
It's not too late to get the backyard of your dreams this year. Expand your living space with an Indy Decorative Concrete patio. Indy Decorative Concrete, the patio experts. Big enough to service, small enough to care.
He went to doctor after doctor looking for relief and always walked away discouraged. Surgery and drugs hadn't worked before, so why would he try them again? That's when Carmen made an appointment at QC Kinetics.
I'll tell you one thing. I got a spring in my step. The bounce is back in my step. My quality of life improving exponentially since I've been going to QC Kinetics.
QC Kinetics has treated over 35,000 patients like Carmen using their own healing components, concentrating them into damaged knees, hips, shoulders, and backs. No surgery, no drugs.
The pain's gone. Quality of life so much better, and mentally I'm in such a better place because I know that I'm not going to wake up to the same old struggles that I have been dealing with every single day. today. 10 months ago, no joke, I was a prime candidate for a knee replacement. Today, I'm not because of the treatment I'm receiving at QC Kinetics.
Carmen finally got relief, and it was easy, starting with a free consultation at QC Kinetics.
Call QC Kinetics 317-559-PAIN. That's 317-559-PAIN. In Eagle Creek, Greenwood, and Carmel. 317-559-PAIN.
Good morning. It is Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
I love this. Braun in the break is giving me financial advice. He's telling me how to make a bunch of money. And I told him, I said, if you'd have been here 20 years ago, I wouldn't be here right now. I mean, he laid it all out for me. You said land's the thing, right?
Yeah. Well, that's what I did early on. And then you're having to trade that off for maybe taking a family vacation. But if you do it early, that's the way I've been able to build a nest egg. And then if you have your own business, that's got more moving parts to it, but that's another way. So, and that's kind of the terrain I came from.
Mike Braun is here. Welcome to the family, by the way. Yeah, we're kind of a dysfunctional family over here, but we're a lot of fun.
I can see that.
Christmas parties are great. All right, so let's talk a little bit about kind of your vision for the state of Indiana. And obviously it centers around property taxes. And I think one of the things that people still want to know is where that is on your priority level, and are you going to see that through? Because obviously that's a huge issue for us. I think the endorsement and our support centers around, we want to give you the firepower to have a mandate when you go in there so people will see how passionate the public is about it. So maybe you can kind of address that and maybe put some of those concerns to rest. People say, well, I don't know if he's still all that passionate about it.
Well, you guys were on it for a long time. I heard it at the same degree you did. To actually come up with a plan like we did, you had to kind of talk to some of the folks that you needed to be on board to see if they were even interested in it. And I was going to go forward anyway, but by doing that, I think it's got a better chance of when it gets to the legislators of actually getting done. And my thinking was that, number one, what was in place probably held things in check until we had inflation.
Right.
Once that came along, you could see that was no longer effective. And that's why I've always said focus on the tax rate and the assessed value, and that's what determines your bill. So everything that we've done has been aimed at controlling the bill, which is what you pay off of.
Yeah.
And then transparency around, if you want more than high growth of our economy, 3% more in revenues, ask the public for it in a transparent way.
So let's talk real quick about kind of the key to the plan, and that is the reset to the 2021 tax bill. Like
for homeowners.
Yeah, that's correct. Right. And I think that's such a key thing because it stops the bleeding for people.
Right.
And just talk a little bit about why you think that's important and kind of the reception you've had of that.
Because that is, in essence, a tax cut for those folks.
Big time.
And the place that was struggling the most, and you probably heard it too, not the jumbo homes.
Yeah.
They'll scrap it together. It would be entry-level homeowners and the elderly. And that's why we've got a 2% restriction on that bill going up each year. But that doesn't do any good if you're already paying an inflated tax bill. So resetting it solves that issue, and then putting a check valve on it going forward, and then transparency around what's happening in local government, including schools, where we want them to be healthy.
Right.
We just don't want them to be growing and doing it in a way to where you can get by with not applying a tax rate that controls the bill. And I think this puts that template out there. And yes, this should be House Bill, Senate Bill 1.
Right.
And we'll see if it is or not. And I'm already trying to lay the stage without getting the cart before the horse politically. I got to jump the hurdle in November. And I spend a lot of time doing that.
Well, and so let's talk about that real quick, and then I'll let Casey hop in here. This is where our audience kind of comes into this, which is, there's no doubt there are going to be local government people, some within your own party, who are going to push back on this because they don't want those reforms. Right?
Mostly within our own party because we control about 80% of the local governments.
Right. And so this was the case that I made yesterday, which is I believe firmly no matter what we did, you're going to be the next governor. But we want to arm you with the ability to come in and look at the General Assembly and say, this was my top priority. this is, I won 55, 56, 57, whatever it is, percent of the vote. And you, the General Assembly, need to listen to what the people were saying because they judged me based on this, and they supported this plan.
Yeah. And I want, as I tell you each time I'm here, I visit all 92 counties because in the job of being a senator or a governor, you got to listen to the people and invite you to come down and visit me. And that's not been a campaign slogan. I've done it for 5.5 years. So accessibility to me is important. And then I'm wanting to be I want to fix some things that need fixing, and to fix some of the issues we've got, you'll have to be a little disruptive in terms of looking at new ways of doing things.
I like that.
Yeah. If not, you're just kind of incrementally extending the present, and we've got things we can do better at.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to get into some of the other fixing of things that are also on your priority list. You said Senate Bill 1. What have you heard within the party or from some of the legislators? Are they on board with you with this, or is this going to be a fight?
So I've met with leaders of both House chambers several times, right when we were laying out the introduction of it, and then even recently. And that's going to be up to me as a state's leader to make the case to them. I mean, we got a supermajority, so I think people would expect that we do a few things with it. And this is no different than sticking your neck out and leading a business for 37 years. If you're going to, in my opinion, do more than the average, you've got to take a little risk. Don't bet the farm. Make sure your ideas are good, and then sell the hell out of it so you get everybody bought into it.
I think that's where we come in again, Casey, is not only getting you across the finish line with a mandate, but then once the session starts and you present that bill, our audience calling the legislators, writing the legislators, showing up at events and saying, hey, you guys got to do this. We're paying attention to this.
And I think once you say you're going to do it on a major policy initiative, you have to have it well thought out, and you got to be willing to take it to the limit. And the more you can get folks behind you making those calls to those legislators that may think, well, that's being too rough on local governments, well, just explain it to them. Do you want your local government to grow faster than the economy? When I put the question that way, they will say, well, no, we never want to do it. Yeah. Well, that's what's been happening. So, yeah, this is going to be great because you're saying this is what you're going to do. You're trying to get the backing broadly of the legislators up front, media, and I'll be campaigning for this every week, every month going forward to make sure that we make an honest attempt at fixing it.
Okay, now when you came on the show originally and you gave us your plan, there was some back and forth. Now, wait a minute, what about this part and this part? How was that process for you? Like, you came out with a plan and then, well, maybe we need to tweak it just a little bit.
That was one minor component where it looked like it wasn't going to for that bracket, and then we immediately came up with a quick fix to address it. So if you're not perfect out of the gate, that's why you put it out there, and to me that made perfect sense. And I'd call that a minor tweak to it to accomplish what we said we were going to do. And that's why I tried to spend a lot of time with legislators, folks that work at the State House in that area to make sure we weren't way off on anything. And we really weren't. And then the biggest impact of that was who else in our state government actually put something out publicly. Of course, then Jennifer McCormick came up with a plan shortly after.
Heck of a plan, right?
I didn't see much there, but that's...
Even though we were told she was going to wait and see. But.
Yeah, and that's okay. I mean, if that's the approach, she'll have to compete with that. I think this is bolder. This has got real impetus behind it, and I feel good that we're going to get something done.
Yeah, that's what we said yesterday is we got two options here. We can keep fighting each other, and that might be great for our show, but it doesn't get us anything, right? And if your plan were to pass with those property tax resets, it would be arguably the biggest tax cut in the history of the state. It would rival what happened in 2008 and then obviously in the Constitution in 2010. And to me, it's a no-brainer if you're a liberty-minded or conservative person. wouldn't you want $600 or $1,000 a year that's going to go back in your pocket based on if those property tax bills reset?
In the area that we all agree with, that home ownership ought to be doable and reachable for everyone. And then if you've got tax policies that are not doing that, it needs to be changed. And I think that's why it's going to get broad support.
Mike Braun is our guest. All right, let's take a break. One area that I think you're going to be great on is education. And I want to kind of talk to you a little bit about your vision for what education looks like, because following property taxes, I think reforming education system in the state is a big deal, and I know you're very passionate about that.
All right, we'll get to it coming up from 93 WIBC.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
He's accepted. Radar is clear. It's 69 and sunny downtown. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 1028. The Democratic National Convention is down to its last day after the Minnesota governor, Tim Walz, accepted the vice presidential nomination Wednesday night.
So I don't know about you. I'm ready to turn the page on these guys. So go ahead. Say it with me. We're not going back.
Other noticeable appearances, were made by the likes of former President Bill Clinton and Oprah Winfrey. Kamala Harris takes the stage in prime time tonight to accept the presidential nomination. Italian authorities say that they've recovered a fifth body from a yacht that sank off of the coast of Sicily Monday. The yacht, carrying 22 people, sank in a violent storm. Among the missing are British tech tycoon Mike Lynch and Morgan Stanley International Chairman Chairman Jonathan Bloomer. The Little League World Series continues in Williamsport. Texas beat Nevada 5-2 on Wednesday to move on to Saturday's United States Final. I'm Kurt Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Hey, good news, Casey.
What's that, Rob?
Braun told me during the break I still got plenty of time to be a very wealthy person.
Oh, good.
I've been getting all sorts of financial advice from him.
You know what? I want to ask you something. This is a little silly question, but Rob just did it. He called you Braun. Does that bother you?
No, not at all.
Okay.
No.
Hey, call me Kendall. It's fine.
All right.
We're the same
curious.
team now.
Yeah, it's true.
Hey, so I'm curious. Obviously, yesterday, we kind of all said we're going to jump off the diving board together. And
Appreciate that.
And you and I had talked about in the lead up to this when we'd shared some ideas. One of the things that really impressed me, I looked at Senator Braun and said, "Are you ready for this jelly?" And he goes, "Oh yeah, I don't care." He goes, "Everybody's going to be fine with it." And everybody seems to be okay with it.
I mean, so far, I think that for us as a party, and I'm seeing it as I travel around the state, campaigning and doing the official side, something's afoot out there in terms of, I think there's a sense in our party, and we are a majority party, they're looking for some things to get done, and I think they can realize it's going to be more entrepreneurial in terms of how we run our state government. And I'm feeling it in not only the fundraising, but also the number of people showing up at events.
All right, let's talk about education. There is a universal school choice bill that is it started last session, and it started with the intent that it would move forward this session. I think this is such a key bill where it allows the money to follow the kid. I would assume, I know you're passionate about education reform, this is something you're on board with.
No doubt about it. And I come from one of the best public school systems in the state where I went to school. Grandkids go there. But not every place has got it. And if you want to be a monopoly, you generally are trying to hide something that you don't quite like because you probably need to do better. And to me, choice and competition, they are the hallmarks of any system that needs to work. We don't have it in healthcare. That's why we get some of the highest healthcare costs in the country. But in education, parents should be in the driver's seat. We've for far too long kind of pushed kids down a trail that the only way you can be successful is with a 4-year degree. Well, the fact is only about 1/3 of the jobs need it, and we underproduce on the degree that's most important, STEM. But in high school, you should be getting basic skills. There should be a lot of choice on where parents can send their kids, and it should be to where educators and systems are kind of competing for whoever's going to give the best result to the parent and the student.
Okay, you mentioned healthcare, and that's been a big concern of me personally over the past 2 years. So I want to ask you, there's a new study that came out, said Indiana hospital prices are the 8th highest in the nation. So what can be done about not only improving healthcare access in the state of Indiana, but also affordability?
Well, that's improved. It used to be 5th or 6th, so that's still terrible out of 50 states. And look at your options. We're down to a couple, maybe, insurance companies, 3. That's an oligopoly. That's nearly a monopoly. You've got some very, very wealthy hospital systems in our state, and you got most that are hanging on by their fingernails. So the problem in the system itself, how I fixed it in my own business 16 years ago, the consumer has been atrophied into almost not being a consumer for healthcare. You hope your insurance is good enough. You get your bill 3 months to 4 months maybe after whatever the procedure was, and then you hold your breath. It's got to be flipped around to where on minor healthcare, if you can afford it, you are driving a market-based system for the scratches and dents. When you have shingles blow off your roof or so, you back into somebody's vehicle, you pay through that through a deductible. That's consumerism. You keep those costs down. And then when it comes to the more catastrophic stuff, that's where even hospitals need to compete among themselves, be transparent. Gallbladder operation. This was appalling to me, but we had some entrepreneurs at Wellbridge Surgical Clinic up in Zionsville. They got started 2 years ago. Almost impossible to do it. Frustrated surgeons and anesthesiologists. They said back then, a couple years ago, the negotiated rate, if you were insured, is about $19,000. If you weren't insured, but you could afford it, it jumps to $29,000. They're going to be able to do it for about $9,000 to $10,000. Nothing that is that big a ticket. Think about a big screen TV. Right. It costs $1,000. You'd have people drive 40 miles to save $50. We got to get that involved in healthcare, or the costs and the results are going to run away even worse than what they are.
Okay, let's, can I ask one more thing?
Yeah, it's half your show.
Okay, about tackling the issue of mental health services in the state, because that's another big problem.
So public health, which has kind of come into the forefront in terms of our own state's budget, that does now involve the conversation of physical and mental. The mental component, until COVID came along, was kind of just out there. You had a lot of times associated with addictions. And I see a lot of need for it because a lot of towns and counties across our state are finding their own solutions because there wasn't something more comprehensive. But clearly, mental health, addictions have got to be put up there at a level with what we call physical health, and we've kind of neglected it. So it needs more attention. If we don't get it holistically correct and affordable, we're going to have trouble as a state.
Would you say that this is 1, 2, and 3 for you? Do you have any sort of order in, property tax, education, healthcare? Is that, or?
So property tax is the thing that has technically got out of a line, impacting everyone. It's easy to fix if we do something along the lines of what we've talked about. 2 big issues, any families: education when you're younger, healthcare as you get older. And then you got that next tier of issues I hear about: childcare, affordable housing, rural broadband into every nook and cranny. And then the 2 issues that I hear a lot about just very recently, may not surprise you, but would be the cost of electricity and water. And the 5 big companies that want to come to our state will barely have enough electricity to get the first one supplied. And we're now finding that water is not distributed evenly across our state. And that'll be a technically harder issue to solve because it's only available with some supply in about a third of our counties.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things you're going to bring to the government that will be much different than we have now, because we always talk about, well, there's all these companies coming here, and we always hear about all these bright, shiny objects that are getting erected, and yet our tax burden has never been higher. Like, these 2 things are not computing. What's the point of having all of these things coming here if the tax burden's never been higher, clearly somebody's got to come in and clean up the government.
And if the economy is growing robustly, you'd be generating more revenues, assuming that you could take the load off on the tax side of it. And I feel good about that. I'm going to go through every agency to make sure they're being run efficiently, that they're doing the job for the constituents that interface with them, and getting a lot of tips from legislators on ones that need a lot of improvement. If we just fix how our government operates at $22 billion a year and can just tackle that to the tune of 2, 3, 4%, which is in reach for any good business operator or manager. And believe me, government doesn't inherently run as efficiently as businesses do, because you're not competing for revenues. There's not that incentive to maybe control your expenses. I come from the world of having to have gotten that done right.
Yeah, and Mike Braun's our guest. I think that's one of the things where you say, a couple of years ago, they had this huge surplus. They changed the surplus law to the number that if it's in this number, you don't get any money back, and then they spend it right down to that number.
Yeah.
And it's like, what planet does that make any sense on, and why is that okay? And I don't think if someone like you is calling the shots, that's going to be allowed to happen.
That's not going to happen.
Perfect.
I want to talk about a different...
See how definitive he was with that?
Yeah, it's not going to happen. I want to talk about a different tax burden, and believe it or not, it's not a gas tax. I know it's not gas tax.
Now, see,
I know you'll get to that.
Well, in fairness, and here's the thing, we were having some fun conversations in the lead up to all this, and I told Mike, and he said, absolutely, I expect nothing less. I said, let's fix the big issue, which is the property taxes and the education thing. And then I said, then I'm going to come for you on the gas tax.
On the gas tax.
And
Today?
No. I said, I'll see you in a couple of years.
Like, oh, man, not today. No, but I do want to ask you, because Ron DeSantis has done it down in Florida, and it's been very successful, at least with their tourism industry. Would you consider doing any sort of sales tax moratorium over a weekend, especially in the fall during school time, to help with back-to-school supplies?
So sales tax would be the probably most regressive of our taxes. Property taxes, maybe up until we get them fixed. And we're at a level that puts us in one of the higher sales tax rates in the country. Many states tax services and brick and mortar. That discussion was out there when I was in the legislature. That's tricky, but the fact is our base is shrinking on brick and mortar, and it's growing on services. So you could do a lot of things that would kind of lessen the load on sales taxes, because it's about a third of where we get our revenue. So I'm going to look at what makes sense, look at that entrepreneurially too. And you always want a tax that's going to have the least amount of impact on the underlying economy and the people that have to pay it, but you still get as much from it to pay for the basic services you need. And that, to me, when you look at property taxes, income taxes, sales taxes, you're taxing wealth, you're taxing income, and you're taxing consumption. All that needs to be looked at to make sure we're doing it right. And that may be something we change. Yeah. Who knows?
So one of the things I wanted to give you the opportunity to do, because you and I have been able to have some conversations the past month, and it's really helped me, and you guys have been great. And we talked about this a little bit yesterday about how I believe you are sincere in changing the direction of the Republican Party, changing the way things have been done. And there's a lot of people who feel they've been kind of burned by the Republicans the past 7-8 years. I just wanted to give you a minute to kind of, address that and why people should say, hey, are we going to take another leap off the diving board? We don't want to risk getting hurt again. It's like a scorned relationship type of thing. But just kind of why it's going to be different and how people can feel better about having you as governor.
Well, I think, again, I've always been a big believer. You look to the past to see what behavior is going to be like in the future. The biggest decision, and I don't know if I mentioned it on this show, was back in the late 70s. Are you going to go to Wall Street, which was the easiest thing to do, highest paying job? I took the first entrepreneurs class at business school that they offered. Well, changed my mind that looked like it'd be something more in line with what I wanted to do. My wife wanted her own business. She's had it now for 46 years at 505 Main Street, half block south of her courthouse. 4 kids, 3 of whom run the business. That's not the corporate route, and that's the entrepreneurial route. And our party now is made up of entrepreneurs, small businesses, and blue-collar workers. I've gotten endorsements from places like the Carpenters Union, the trades that believe in apprenticeships and stuff like that up in the northeast part of our state. That is the new makeup of the party. And if you're coming from that lane naturally, which I come from that lane because the first 17 years of running my business, it was hard scrabble, survival, office literally in a used mobile home. Look at the roots. Can you put up with it? Can you actually get through it? Can you build a regional company and then a national one by reinvesting every penny, saving, being entrepreneurial, looking for new sources of revenue? That's the framework of where I'm coming from, and then everybody is invited to come along for that ride. I think there's been a feeling in our own party that there's not enough avenues for people starting with nothing to be able to use our platform to build a future. I feel good that we can.
All right.
We have to ask him his favorite beer.
Oh, that's right. So we thought you'd be great. We've already signed you up, Hammer and Nigel, who I know you're great friends with.
Yes.
I
had to bring beer into that get-together.
You know, they do a thing called...
It's the price of admission.
It's called Beer Bong Friday.
Yeah.
And we signed you up for a future event on Beer Bong Friday. You know, you can wait until after you become governor if you want.
Yeah.
We didn't put any time constraint on it, but we were wondering, like, what sort of beer
do you have a favorite brand?
would you go with?
So I generally prefer a mixed drink,
Good for you.
occasionally.
Yeah.
And that would be blended, not bourbon.
Yeah.
But I can do either. And if I'm drinking a beer, I generally got to be really hot and do it when I'm doing something outside. And then I'm going to default to something like a Coors Light or a Mick Ultra.
Yeah, okay, so we need to make Braun wash my car, and then we'll bring him in for a Beer Bong Friday.
I don't think he'll be doing that for you.
Mike, thanks, man. Appreciate you, and you're welcome here anytime.
Thank you.
Yep.
You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Coming up on the Hammer and Nigel show, we go off the rails with one Mr. Rob Kendall plus RFK Jr. dropping out of the race. All the fun starts at 3 o'clock, 93 WIBC.
Transform your home with Galaxy Concrete Coatings. Say goodbye to cracked, stained floors and hello to durable, stunning surfaces that last. Their cutting-edge technology ensures a beautiful finish every time, and you get to pick out from their many colors. Upgrade your home today like I did. Galaxy Concrete Coatings. They're for garage floors, driveways, pool decks, and patios. They come with a lifetime warranty and one-day professional installation. Call now for a free estimate. 877-417-0635. They're also online at galaxyconcretecoatings.com.
Ugh, I've been feeling so sluggish. I'm just kind of blah.
Been there. That's why I take Align yogurt-coated probiotic fruit bites.
But I suppose they taste blah.
Actually, they taste delicious. It's an apple blueberry flavored center covered in a yogurt coating and is infused with probiotics to help support a healthy gut. They come 5 in a pouch. I just toss one in my bag and go.
Toss one in my bag?
Get your own.
New Align yogurt-coated probiotic fruit bites from the makers of the #1 doctor-recommended probiotic brand. Find them in the digestive care aisle.
Have you lost Indiana Medicaid? At healthcare.gov, you can find a low-cost, quality health plan.
Do plans cover doctor visits?
What about emergency care?
And prescriptions?
All covered and more. Plus, with the new law, 4 out of 5 customers can find a plan for $10 or less per month with financial help. Healthcare.gov is here for you. Enroll today for coverage starting the 1st of next month. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Inside Indiana Business Radio, the news you need to get ahead. Indiana's business news leader, weekdays at 6:32 a.m. and 5:56 p.m. on WIBC.
Research shows smoking costs Indiana businesses $3.1 billion every year. It also shows that an extra $2 per pack tax on cigarettes would drastically reduce smoking, which could save lives, create jobs, and infuse the state of Indiana with hundreds of millions of dollars annually. Read the reports from the Richard M. Fairbanks Foundation at thepriceofsmoking.org and see for yourself how an extra $2 per pack tax on cigarettes can have a positive impact on Hoosiers.
Tired of using your Indy Summer to paint year after year? Then do what Deanna did. She called Rhino Shield.
I was noticing some cracks and the paint's faded. I was like, okay, I think I should get my house painted. So my neighbor had a Rhino Shield placard in the yard. And after they were finished, I was just, wow. With the warranty and everything, it just seemed silly not to go that route.
The ceramic coating of Rhino Shield is specifically formulated for our climate.
So the Rhino Shield crew came out. Nothing was damaged in the process. I was very happy. You couldn't even tell they were there. And the house looked so different. It just looked like a new home.
Right now, get the guaranteed protection of Rhino Shield for 10% off the regular price. Plus, there's more great news. Rhino Shield is partnered with Green Sky Financing to offer no payments until 2026 for qualified buyers.
I think it increases the curb appeal of your home. Definitely worth it.
Here's Rhino Shield Shane Smith.
Call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Don't paint. Go Rhino.
Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
I'm embarrassed to say this. I've been using deodorant on my armpits for 30 years, and anytime I noticed odor anywhere else, I thought I needed another shower, I wasn't clean, or I felt like there was something wrong with me. And then my gynecologist told me about Lumi. It's a whole body deodorant for pits, feet, and privates that controls odor anywhere and everywhere on your body. Since Lumi, I never have to worry about body odor ever again, anywhere on my body. And that reassurance is worth every penny.
There's a special offer for listeners. Use code SHOWER and get 15% off your first purchase with code SHOWER, like the Lumi Starter Pack, Acidified Body Wash, or new Lumi Plus Sweat Control. That's LUME deodorant.com, code SHOWER for 15% off your first purchase. With over 200,000 five-star reviews, I am so sure you're going to love it. Or return it for free with Lumi's 60-day money-back guarantee. That's LUME deodorant.com, code SHOWER to save 15% today.
Tire Discounters announces our latest breakthrough, TD Chat BS. This software allows us to detect untruths, deceptions, and even outright lies. Let's listen in as we call a local car dealer.
Hi, I drive your model of auto or truck. I need servicing.
Oh, that's great. You should always call the dealer for service to make sure your warranty stays intact.
Untruth.
Excuse me?
I can attend at Tire Discounters for all services, even for all manufacturers' scheduled maintenance. Warranty not affected.
But it's only us dealers who really know our own models.
Deception. Tire Discounters ASE technicians are certified experts for all makes and models.
Okay, maybe.
How many dollars do you charge me for? As few as Tire Discounters?
We are not that much more.
Outright lie. Ending call now. Bye.
No,
Adios.
But
Aloha. Hasta la pasta.
Don't miss our Savor the Summer sale, now till Labor Day.
It's happening. Indiana is investing in our hometowns. Statewide, each region selected the local projects most important to our quality of life. And with the help of Indiana Ready grants, real progress is all around us. With the help of a $1 million Ready grant, the City of Kokomo and Ivy Tech's new Industry 4.0 training lab will help revitalize the region and train workers in cutting-edge 4.0 smart manufacturing systems. Over $3 million in Ready grant money for major road and infrastructure improvements in Peru is helping bolster the city's exciting new developments along the Wabash Riverfront and Riverwalk Way. It took bold thinking and working together to put Ready into action. And there's more to come. Learn more at IndianaReady.com. That's Indiana, READI.com. Brought to you by the Indiana Economic Development Corporation. ForTheBold.com.
If Ernest Hemingway was alive today, would he say this to you?
Shakespeare, Mark Twain, Edgar Allan Poe, all great writers. And after reading your book, I simply must add you to the list.
Wait, you don't have a book yet, so make a free call to Page Publishing. Turn your book idea into publishing gold.
800-215-6818. 800-215-6818. That's 800-215-6818.
Zero Res. 3 rooms of carpet cleaning starting at $119 plus 20% off their duct cleaning too. 388-5141. Online at zeroresindy.com.
So Senator Mike Braun was just in the studio with Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. My personal highlight was finding out that if he's going to drink a beer on a hot day, it would be Coors Light or Mick Ultra.
Yeah, we learned a lot. And here's the thing over the past day. Okay. there are many, many people who are very, very pleased, and we took the phone calls yesterday, and I think the phone calls are a great judge because you got to take the time, you got to stand on hold, you got to give your name. All of these things kind of go into how, if you're wanting to participate, and those were 100%. Doesn't mean every person who called felt that way, but we didn't have Kev screen calls. We just said roll them in as they came. They were 100% positive. I think people who are eliminating emotion or their party affiliation from the equation heard the rationale that we gave and you and I had slightly different reasons. You're getting out scot-free on this, and you came to your decision a month ago. I put all the time and effort into it, and I'm getting roasted by the libertarian
Well, I
people.
also didn't have the allegiance to Donald Rainwater that you had
Sure.
from previously working with him in 2020.
Right. And there are some people, they're mostly online, who are very, very upset. And what's interesting is the libertarians, I'm saying these people who you identify them with the party. Now, this is not all the people in the party. There are great people in the Libertarian Party, Kloffenstein, Mark Rutherford, Evan McMahon, Don himself. They're all great people. But there are people who are just behaving like petulant children online.
Unfollow.
And it's like, all I have done, still continue to do.
Yeah.
I'm not like, I'm not saying no more libertarians. I'm voting for at least one libertarian this year. And I've done it for 4 years. And Casey will back me up on this. We certainly don't do it for the ratings. But we believe in the freedom of voices being heard. We believe if you're eligible and are running for a public office that you should be heard. And we have done this not out of anything that helps us on this radio station, but for these people, you are behaving the way the Republicans have behaved to me for the past 8 years. It's just like, if the whole campaign hinged on a radio guy, think about this, Casey. The credit you're giving me and the way you're behaving, you're saying this guy's whole campaign hinged on a registered Republican, a former elected Republican radio guy, not only endorsing your guy, but going all in again. That's not on me. I'm entitled to support whoever I want to support. I didn't take it lightly. I thought it through. I gave you a 15-minute, well-thought-through, logical explanation, which if anybody's being remotely honest with themselves, they can't pick it apart, which is he's going to win. He's going to be the governor.
You're talking about Mike Braun.
What sort of governor do you want him to be? That is the question we're having amongst ourselves right now. And if you're being intellectually honest with yourself and your family or whoever you're having these conversations with, you have to decide what sort of governor do you want Mike Braun to be. He sat here and he said he's committed to the property tax reform.
He said it was Senate Bill 1. That's what he said.
Micah has sat here and said, and I don't think anybody doubts Micah, they're committed to the property tax reform. I've never doubted he's committed to education reform, and I think, which is music to a lot of people's ears, he's committed to health reform. I think those are going to be the three top issues. Is Mike Braun perfect? No. Are there a lot of areas I'm going to disagree with him on? Absolutely. But we're not going to solve all of those things immediately, even if Donald Rainwater were the governor.
Right.
The question here that you should be asking yourself, if you care about property tax reform, is this plan A+? No. Is it pretty good? Yes. Is what sort of governor do you want walking in there? Because the General Assembly has shown they are not committed without pushing to be in the property tax reform business. They've had several years to do it. They have not done it. I think they're hearing it now. I think they're getting there. But you need a face. You need someone to cast the vision. You need someone to be the leader of the business, for lack of a better term, to drive this very difficult agenda forward. Because here's what's going to happen. He's going to put that forward. They're going to come up with something. It'll be Senate Bill 1. Or, it could theoretically emanate in the House, too. But whatever. It's going to be the top priority bill. And then all the local government people are going to flood the State House. I am telling you right now how this is going to go down. And they're going to screech, and they're going to scream, and it's going to be ugly, and it's going to be angry red-shirted teachers on steroids.
Yep.
And it's going to come down to what sort of juice do you want to give the guy in the governor's seat to push the thing forward? And we now get to be a part of that equation because Mike Braun's going to be here, and he's going to be out and about, and he's going to be telling our audience and engaging with our audience to contact their legislators to drive this forward. We've never had this opportunity before. You can live in delusion land or you can live in reality land. I am choosing to live in reality land because I believe on the key issue the issue of facing the state of Indiana right now, which is property tax reform. He has a decent enough plan that will help a whole lot of people, save a whole lot of people a whole lot of money, and he is committed to doing it. I'll live to fight everything out another day, and I don't like the response from these people who are just, I mean, it's a very small amount of people compared to the people who listen to the show or engage in our program. It's just ridiculous for somebody who did so much for the Libertarian Party.
You have to consider, if Senator Braun is sitting here saying, I need you to call people, I need you to get involved, talking about our listeners. If he's saying, yep, we're going to have to fight to get this done, we're going to do it together, imagine the fight it would be if it were rainwater.
Well, and the laughable stuff, you sold out, you this, you that, you did this for access to Braun. I don't need access to politicians. Look at our ratings.
They need access to us.
We have no access to any politicians now. We don't need them. They need us. This is about nothing other than, and I will look, you know how I get when I look in the camera.
Yeah.
This is about nothing other than fixing this property tax issue, and Mike Braun will get it done. I believe that in my heart. And it's the whole example. I agree with you on 99% of the stuff, but on my issue, you're wrong. I'm not wrong on this. This is your chance. You can choose to participate, or you can choose to fight it. Do you want property tax reform or don't? The choice is up to you.
We hope you get on board. It is Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
Point. Hey, you okay? You don't normally miss those shots.
I just haven't been as regular lately, and it's making me feel sluggish.
You should try Metamucil. It's been a game changer for me. Metamucil's plant-based psyllium fiber helps trap and remove the waste that weighs you down. Ace, you're moving better than you were last week.
Definitely.
Metamucil keeps you moving. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Learn more at metamucil.com.
Hey, don't take your eyes off the road. Just listen. What you hear right now, your customers hear it too. Get your message heard. Text business to 71007 now. Get results with Radio 1.
To celebrate Be Employee Owned, Be's offering employee pricing 60% off plus 18 months, no interest, no payment.
Proud to be employee owned. Trust me.
Coming up in 2 minutes, how Pete Buttigieg got Democrats hyped up last night, plus where a shooting happened overnight that left a man dead, and time to go out and get some good eats for cheap in Indianapolis. I'm Kurt Darling. That and more coming up from the Technology Recycler Studios after Fox News Radio. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 11 o'clock.
It's Vice President Harris's big night. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News, hoping to convince us to vote for her, wrapping up the Democratic convention.
It's unlikely we'll get too many specifics from Harris. What's more likely tonight is an outline of some goals and probably a comparison with Trump. But what we are watching for is if Harris tries to extend her appeal to any swing voters, independents, or moderates who aren't in this room.
Fox's Jackie Heinrich in Chicago, where Tim Walz, Minnesota's governor, accepted the VP nomination last night.
No matter who you are, Kamala Harris is going to stand up and fight for your freedom to live the life that you want to lead.
And Walz also called the Trump agenda weird, extreme, and dangerous.
When I was teaching every year, we'd elect a student body president. And you know what? Those teenagers could teach Donald Trump a hell of a lot about what a leader is.
Former President Trump's reaction?
He's a total lightweight, and he shouldn't be even having any access to possibly being president. The guy, he's been a terrible governor.
Telling Fox and Friends all the Democrats are doing in Chicago is attacking him.
I think they mentioned me 297 times. They mentioned the border once. They mentioned crime twice. They don't mention the economy because the economy is horrible.
The former president will go to Arizona today, focused on border security, his fourth battleground state this week. As for the growing speculation, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. could end his run for president by tomorrow, perhaps, and endorse Trump.
I don't know what he is right now, but he was a Democrat. They treated him very badly.
Calling Kennedy a smart guy.
I would be very honored by it.
Kennedy dropped out during the primaries to start his independent campaign. There was a slight increase in first-time jobless claims last week, up to 232,000, and the 1.86 million Americans still collecting unemployment checks, the most since November 2021. Thousands of rail workers are off the job today in Canada, locked out by two railroad companies in a labor dispute, halting a lot of freight trains, which could affect American supply chains. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Better politics, as he put it. Radar's clear, 71 and sunny downtown. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 11:02. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg rallying Democrats at the DNC last night.
So this November, we get to choose. We get to choose our president. We get to choose our policies, but most of all, we will choose a better politics.
The former South Bend mayor says Democrats are the right kind of politics to lead the U.S. forward. Kamala Harris will be accepting the Democratic nomination for president tonight. A man shot and killed last night on the northwest side. It was along MLK near 26th Street. Police say they got there shortly before 9 and found a man who had been shot, and he later died at the hospital. Police may have a person of interest, but so far, no one has been detained or arrested. Weakness, weight loss, chills, and fever are all signs of tuberculosis. Ryan Hedrick reports on a person in northeastern Indiana who's been diagnosed with the disease.
It's a person within Fort Wayne Community Schools that has tuberculosis, but the people that work at the health department aren't giving any information. They say there's privacy laws to consider. TB is contagious and it spreads through the air when the infected person coughs, sneezes, or spits. Last year, Indiana reported 130 cases. Allen County had 10 cases. Ryan Hedrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
This year's Devour Indy Summerfest is happening now, and you have through the beginning of September to take advantage of the deals.
Each Devour, locals and visitors get the chance to come out and try restaurants that are on their wish list for special priced menus that each restaurant gets to cultivate on their own and kind of put their own creative spin on it.
That representative with the Indiana Restaurant and Lodging Association says more than 100 restaurants are participating this year. The Indianapolis Colts will be going at it with the Cincinnati Bengals tonight in their final preseason matchup ahead of the regular season. The two teams have been conducting joint practices in Cincinnati the last 2 days. The Colts will play their starters for about a quarter and a half. I'm Kirk Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
If you can't get a good night's sleep, let me ask you, are you breathing well? Because if you're snoring or waking up each night with a stuffed up nose or frustrated with your CPAP mask, the root of your sleep problem lies in your breathing triangle. And if any one of those passages isn't working, you won't sleep well. And there's no mattress, pill, or other gimmick that can fix that. I'm Dr. Madan Kandula. A recipe for a good night's sleep starts with an open airway. Now, there are devices that can help solve snoring or sleep apnea problems. If you walk into a sleep center, know you'll walk out with a CPAP. And you might find other options elsewhere, but the simple truth is, if your nose doesn't work properly, no device will help. Only at Advent will you find every effective snoring and sleep apnea solution, along with a world-class team that can get your nose working properly again.
Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Thursday, August 22nd. It's 5 minutes after 11 with Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. Well, he is the most popular person at the Democratic National Convention, so let's talk about him for a little bit.
By the way, real quick, did you see Matt Walsh snuck into the Democratic Convention?
Oh, yeah, in disguise.
So he's the Daily Wire guy, and he somehow got into the Democrat convention, and it was like a Where's Waldo thing. People knew he was in there, and They were like finding him and taking pictures of him. It was great.
Well, and then there were some people saying, this is Matt Walsh. Don't talk to him. We see him. We know you're here. And of course, being very inclusive with him, aren't they? So
anyway, who's the most popular?
The most popular guy at the convention is, of course, Donald Trump. They can't not talk about him. I think he's been mentioned something like over 300 times.
Well, and this is, it's very much like talking about someone's ex, boyfriend or girlfriend, depending on what part of the equation you are in that relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a weird obsession where you say, okay, well, you have or had all the levers of government. You still have 2/3 of the levers of government. And yet the only thing, you can't find any happiness in having the control because, let's face it, you people are a complete train wreck in control. I mean, look at that labor secretary who we played earlier, who had no idea about the downsized jobs numbers and then tried to blame it on Donald Trump. And they're like, ma'am, that's your numbers. And she's like, I don't know anything about that. I mean, you just have completely incompetent people running just almost all level. I mean, look at Buttigieg. I mean, every part of this country is a disaster because of these people. So they don't have anything positive to talk about. So yes, it's like obsessing when you're in a bad relationship over somebody's ex-girlfriend or ex-boyfriend because you're not taking care of business at home.
Mm-hmm. It's like they keep forgetting that they've been in power 12 out of the last 16 years. But you're right. Pete Buttigieg talk last night. You had Tim Walz talk. Did you even watch?
No, I watched none of it.
Him?
I watched none of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I did the first night, and then it was like till midnight when Biden spoke, and then I watched some of it last night, and then I told you, I was like, I can't. I can't.
I'm out. Will you be watching tonight when Harris accepts the nomination?
I don't know. I had to get up early and do State House Happenings this morning. I know you're going to watch it. If she says anything, that's noteworthy, it'll be overall. This is the thing now with the.
She won't say anything that's not on the teleprompter.
Well, but will she be drinking? I mean, that's a big question. But the point is, like, with the internet now, I can go to the RNC research or Post Millennial or whatever, and I can see all the things that are going to be of interest to me in this show, like that. Why would I subject myself, one, to staying up that late, and two, staying up that late? Why are they doing that? So we had this conversation. We had our weekly show meeting with David and Matt, our bosses, yesterday, and we were talking about this with them, which is, what is the strategy in having these keynote speakers go out so late? And before people we jump down our throats, we said the same thing about Trump on his election or nomination night speech.
He spoke very late.
And went on too long. And I get that, hey, 11 on the East Coast is 8 on the West Coast. But other than, Arizona?
Well, there's a lot of Democrat voters out in California.
But they're not they're not. California's not in doubt. I mean, you're these conventions, and they're always this way. You're speaking to 7 states. It's Georgia. It's maybe still to some extent Florida, but probably not very much anymore. It's Pennsylvania. It's Michigan. It's Wisconsin. It's Arizona, New Mexico, Nevada. I mean, so there's 8. There's a congressional district in Maine that's always up for grabs. There's one in Nebraska that's always up for grabs. I mean, there's just a handful of areas you're speaking to, and none of those, as far as I know, are West Coast time. So why are you alienating? Because even if you said, well, a bunch of those are Central Time, that's still 10 o'clock. If you got you got kids, you got a job, you're not staying up till 11 o'clock, even if you're a Central Time Zone person, to hear Kamala Harris or any of these other people speak. I don't understand why they're doing this.
I wonder what time she will be speaking, if it will be that late, or if they'll put her in prime time. At least they'll put her in prime time, unlike what they did to Joe Biden.
Well, the other thing that we were commenting on yesterday that's super interesting is the numbers on who's watching what. And what was interesting to me is MSNBC's the leader. That doesn't surprise me. CNN is second. Also doesn't really surprise me. But how pitiful the main network's ratings,
I think NBC came in last.
actually are. I mean, like the three biggies are horrible.
Yeah, it was. It was MSNBC, then CNN, and then I think it was Fox.
Yeah.
And then it went ABC, CBS, and NBC.
And then you factor in streaming, and you know, it's just another example. Not even this conversation is politics, but just how irrelevant the main three networks, you know, are kind of, throw Fox in there for, have kind of become, because people are going, like, if you're a Democrat, you don't just want coverage. This is red meat. If you're a hard D, you want, hey, that Oprah was great. Oprah was boring. Oprah was great. I mean, you want, it's your team sport, right? You're not going to get, there's just not enough time for them to do that on the networks because they have a limited coverage window. And so you're seeing people going now, bypassing the networks, same thing with the Republican convention, and going directly to the team sport networks.
Yeah. Okay, so Donald Trump may be receiving a cease and desist letter from Beyonce.
Oh, boy.
Over use of one of his songs.
Now, you and I have had this conversation before.
Uh-huh.
And you're born, because you were in management in radio.
Yeah.
I owned a radio station, but did very little actual managing. Not even myself. And don't these people, aren't they exempted through CSAC? Like if Donald Trump, so in order to play music on radio stations, every radio station pays into, there's 3 or 4, I don't even know how many there are now, so I've been out of that management game long enough, but CSAC, BMI, ASCAP were the 3.
Right.
You pay fees each month. It's based on the size of your events or radio station or whatever, and then you have the right to play basically whatever music you want to play. Everyone is covered by BMI CSAC.
Well, you have the right to because you're paying fees to do it.
So that's my point, is if Trump is paying BMI CSAC ASCAP, is there anything they can technically do to him?
Well, no. If he's paying, no. Because he's paying the fee to actually play the music.
And this is common. Like I think all these venues, like if you go to Gainbridge Fieldhouse, I'm fairly certain of this, and if somebody works for them and say, Rob, you're wrong, that's not how it works, great, I would love to hear that. But I'm fairly certain whether it's bars or
stores in the mall,
arenas, they all pay it because they're playing the music. Like, think about how many concerts Gainbridge Fieldhouse hosts, how much music they play during a Pacers game, or it's not the Pacers that would probably be on the hook, it'd be Gainbridge Fieldhouse because that's where they're kind of intertwined, of course. But my point on all this is, for someone who has a large events like Trump does that includes music, I would be floored if they were not paying CSAC, BMI, or ASCAP.
I would think that would also go under a news category for fair use as well. Now, it's different if he's making a campaign video and using a song, then it's copyrighted.
But if he's having a campaign rally, that's clearly for a specific event to benefit him, and he's playing music, that's not news. He's trying to get elected president of the United States. I would think they would have to pay that. But if somebody from one of these campaigns knows, we're just a couple cackling hens here working through this. If somebody knows how that works, let us know. 317-684-8444 at Rob M. Kendall, at Casey Daniels 317 on Twitter. I would be fascinated to know how that works, because if he's paying that fee and he's covered, she can't technically shut him down.
Correct. I mean, she can threaten him, though. She can say, I don't like the idea that you're using this song, so maybe that's just what it is.
Yeah, it could. I mean,
that's why if you go shopping and you hear like the elevator music or the Muzak, that's because that company doesn't want to pay BMI and ASCAP.
That's correct.
But if you were like to go into a clothing store in the mall and they've got just a local radio station playing music, that clothing store has to pay the fees, and they're supposed to have a sticker in the window too. So next time you're out shopping, you can see how many people are following the rules. All right, another thing that's going on.
If you go to the mall today, you should walk up to somebody and go, find some manager.
If you go to the mall today, you're the only one there, probably.
Well, that's a good point. Go in, if you say, I'd like to speak to your manager, and then say, are you paying your CSAC, ASCAP, and BMI?
Well, that's also a reason why a lot of retail places will have their own music. They get sent a CD once a month, and they get to hear the same song over and over again. Okay, so Donald Trump also got approval from Miami to build a new complex. It's supposed to have 1,500 residences. It's an 800-acre property. And, of course, he's going to be in Arizona tomorrow, and that's where Robert Kennedy Jr. is going to be, and he will be allegedly ending his campaign and endorsing Donald Trump.
Now, be honest with our audience.
Yeah.
Everybody's seen that photo of you two together where you are clinging to him like grim death. You're just plugging your nails into his chest. His top button is undone.
Sure.
It's like some sort of dime store novel. I'm sure you had the vapors and needed to be sprayed off.
I was swooning
after the photo. I mean, come on, woman. I've been around this enough to know what's going on. How disappointed are you going to be when your boyfriend gets out of the race tomorrow?
I'll be okay with it because I think some of those people will go over to Trump's camp.
Do you actually think that the people who are voting for Robert F. Kennedy Jr. are going to listen to that guy, and if he says go vote for Trump, that the majority of his voters are going to go vote for Trump?
I think it really, yes, I do. I do think some of them will, but I also think it depends on how, if he is officially ending his campaign, what he says.
Right.
If he says, I encourage you to go vote for Trump. You supported me. Now support this decision of mine. I'm endorsing Trump. I want you to go vote for Trump. I think, that'll have some.
The Kennedy saga is sort of a, it's a great example of just what a stranglehold the two major parties have on this country. And everybody wants to complain about them.
Mm-hmm.
And yet then, they kind of keep supporting them. There aren't really that many independent thinkers left out there anymore. And so for a guy like that, I think he kind of thought that he was going to catch fire based on name. He's still a good-looking guy. He's got some interesting views that appear, but it's sort of like the marijuana conversation, right? Like Robert F. Kennedy Jr. had sort of a core set of things he was passionate about, and they centered around medical freedom and the environment. And we say this all the time with the medical marijuana in the state of Indiana and marijuana legalization. There's a reason the state legislature doesn't do it. It's because you don't actually vote on it. There's a very, very small amount of people whose vote is actually influenced by whether medical marijuana is legalized in the state of Indiana. They've done the polling. They know it. They know people want it, but they know most people aren't voting because of it. And I think what Robert F. Kennedy Jr. ran into was the things he was passionate about in terms of an internet echo chamber made a lot of noise. But when it comes time to actually voting, what was his plan on the economy? He didn't have a clear one. What was his plan on the border? He didn't have a clear plan. People vote based on their pocketbook 9 times out of 10. It's why I'm somewhat optimistic about Trump's chances, although, again, you cannot dismiss the jelly bean counting that's going to take place. But 9 times out of 10 people are going to vote on their own financial interest, which would benefit Trump. And Kennedy, it's why Robert Ross Perot is the only really independent in the modern era to make any sort of noise, because he focused on the economy. And when people thought of him, they thought that's a super rich guy who knows how to make money, and he knows what's going on in the country, and he's going to fix the economy and fix the trade agreements in this country. Kennedy just didn't have a message that resonated with anybody.
So Trump said of Kennedy, if he endorsed me, I would be honored by it. I would be very honored by it. He really has his heart in the right place now. If Kennedy were to endorse Harris, is Trump still going to say that his heart is in the right place?
Well, and that's the thing. And look, people in the YouTube chat are going on about this medical marijuana thing. Every person votes based on their own interest. They do. I'm sorry. Like I'm guilty of this. I'm all for medical marijuana. All for it. All in on it. 100% should be a thing. Also 100% support legalizing marijuana, period, right? It's not something I vote on, though.
Right.
Like my issue right now is education reform, and the top bill is property tax reform, right?
Right.
Like every person does this. I don't know why it's like some big thing. There's just not enough people, clearly, based on the fact that nobody's doing anything about it here in the state of Indiana. Don't shoot the messenger. I'm just telling you how it goes.
It is Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
Tony Katz.
We assume that you have one of those kind of soaking tubs.
Oh, you're talking about like over the Coco Motel. The Kokomo there.
The Coco Motel?
Yeah.
Please tell me there's a real place called the Coco Motel.
There is, yeah. I don't know if it's still there or not, but it used to be.
How was I not notified?
How have you not stayed there?
The Coco Motel?
Yeah.
Do you ever wonder how we're still on the air?
No.
Tony Katz, mornings 6 to 9 on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
Hey guys, it's Rob for Life Church. It's Thursday. That means Sunday's going to be here before you know it. And this Sunday, if you're looking for a new church home or even a first church home, consider checking out my friends and family at Life Church. They're warm, they're welcoming, they treat you like so much more than just a number. You're an individual at Life Church. And many WIBC listeners have found a home at Life Church over the years. You got to see for yourself why. They make it easy for you with campuses all across central Indiana, Noblesville, Fishers, Eagle Creek, and Pendleton. Awesome online services. Learn more about everything at lifechurchin.com.
The deals and specials are sizzling hot. It's the Central Indiana Gun and Knife Show this Saturday and Sunday at the Stoutfield National Guard Armory on West Minnesota Street. The best dealers in the region, hundreds of tables, just $6 for adults, kids 12 and under free. Must be 18 or accompanied by an adult. Buy, sell, trade this Saturday 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Sunday 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Stoutfield National Guard Armory. For more info, visit centralindianagunshows.com.
Point.
Hey, you okay? You don't normally miss those shots.
I just haven't been as regular lately, and it's making me feel sluggish.
You should try Metamucil. It's been a game changer for me. Metamucil's plant-based psyllium fiber helps trap and remove the waste that weighs you down.
Ace.
You're moving better than you were last week.
Definitely.
Metamucil keeps you moving. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Learn more at metamucil.com.
Aren't you worried Max might run off? He's safe. We installed invisible fence. See his special collar? So he can roam freely but won't leave the yard? Exactly. And it was so easy. Invisible fence installed everything and even sent out an expert to train Max. I need invisible fence for Roxy.
Go to invisiblefence.com to get started today, absolutely risk-free. Give your pet freedom and safety. Go to invisiblefence.com right now and schedule your free consultation. Go to invisiblefence.com. That's invisiblefence.com.
It's not too late to get the backyard of your dreams this year. Expand your living space with an Indie Decorative Concrete patio. Indie Decorative Concrete, the patio experts. Big enough to service, small enough to care.
Your home is your sanctuary. Get the peace of mind you deserve with a free estimate on a Generac automatic standby generator for your home from Generator Supercenter, the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer. With expert installation and 24-hour monitoring, Generator Supercenter won't leave you in the dark. Financing is available. Take control of your power today with Generator Supercenter. Call 317-827-0808. Generator Supercenter of Indianapolis, 317-827-0808.
Segment, we had just mentioned malls, and the Greenwood Park Mall welcoming 4 stores. So there's going to be a P.F. Chang's there, a Verde Flavors of Mexico, also Painting with a Twist, and Love Sack. Sounds dirty.
Love
it's not.
Sack?
It's a furniture store. Yeah.
So that's interesting. So there are 2 restaurants and then 2 specialty stores.
Correct.
And I think that's a sort of the direction that malls are heading now.
More of a lifestyle hangout place than
Right.
an area to shop.
Right. I mean, clearly we have seen a change in buying trends and et cetera. And so I think you're looking at a change in how people consume what they consume in person versus online. And you're seeing that there where, hey, you can't do the 2 shops on the internet for the most part. And you can't eat on the internet. And that's sort of this seems like, I mean, you're probably way more into the mall experience than I am and a much better person to have a hot take on this.
I was just thinking about that. I haven't been to a mall in a while, and I think the last mall I went to was in Lafayette, like the Lafayette Mall with my daughter when she was at Purdue.
Hey, serious question.
Yeah.
How much do you regret your life right now because you moved back here because your daughter was going to school at Purdue? And now she's in Baltimore, and you're stuck with me.
What are we doing this on a scale of 1 to 10?
Yeah, like 10. Like 10 would be
what are we talking here?
Yeah. Let's do 1 to 10. 10 would be, I mean, it's the worst decision I ever made. 1 would be, I'm pretty happy with the whole thing.
10 would be, it's the worst decision I ever made.
Yeah.
It's not the worst decision because I'm glad I was here while she was at Purdue.
Right, but she kind of screwed you over. I mean, you put all this effort into coming
think
back
so?
here. Well, really, she did.
She's kind of living her life. She's
Right.
an adult.
Absolutely.
What am I going to do? Stop her from moving?
Well, I think you lost control of the whole situation.
I completely lost control.
I mean, because
that's obvious.
I mean, let's just spell it out. I'm saying, I know this is sounding like a backhanded compliment, but I'm saying it as an actual compliment. You were willing to rearrange your whole life, you and your husband, and move down here to Indianapolis.
Yeah.
Because your daughter was going to school at Purdue.
Well, that wasn't the only reason. I mean, that was a huge part of the reason.
You didn't do it because you wanted to work with me. I mean, let's face it, you met me and no person ever has been like, I'm really excited to work with that neurotic nut job.
Can we talk about how mean you were to me when I came to interview?
Well, we were toughening you up.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Like literally, I come down. It was a Saturday,
Yeah.
right? And they put us in a production
I
studio.
met you on the internet though first.
Well,
That's
yeah,
not
that
as
was like
that's
a
not as
Zoom-
sexy as it sounds.
No, it
Casey was
wasn't
wearing
at
all her clothes the whole time.
I was in a garage parking.
That's right.
Parking garage doing the Zoom call.
That's right.
And you had a baseball
Because you
hat
didn't
on.
want your employer to know you were about to bail on him.
It's true.
Yeah.
I didn't.
She's like, I'm in a car because I don't want my employer to know.
Well, no. I mean, you can't let them know.
Right.
Before the official offer comes in. And then I came down here on a Saturday and they put us in a production studio and we did like a fake show.
Yeah.
And when it was done, Matt was like all nice and you're like, all right, good luck. And you walked out. I thought, wow, that guy's got a bit of an attitude,
Well,
doesn't he?
I almost had it. You really threw a monkey wrench into the whole thing. I mean, I almost had them on the hook because no women wanted to work with me after the previous two women who worked with me.
Right.
Yes, Kev.
How many female candidates were there in this interview process?
Well, there were a couple that came in here, and the one who works in another radio market who's pretty well known, she just flat out was like, I am not working with that guy.
She cracked.
And I mean, let's face it, and you've done a phenomenal job of this. It's really hard to work with me. Like, I mean,
I'm glad you're so self-aware.
It's not an easy.
This is refreshing.
It's not an easy thing. Well, it's like any great sports player. There's a lot of sports players who's like, they're really good at their, basketball or whatever. You don't want to like,
high performers tend to be a little difficult.
Well, and so I almost had the thing. I had vanquished the two women. It took me like 4 years, but I'd pulled that off. And then I was so hard to work with that the women that they were bringing in for the auditions, and I almost had them where they were like, screw it, let's just put him in there by himself, which I had freely admitted was my life's ambition to be Tony Katz.
Right.
And then you were the final boss. And I could not beat the final boss.
Couldn't shake me.
He was resilient.
Couldn't shake me. Sorry about your luck, Rob. Actually, I'm sorry about my luck.
And now, but so to bring this conversation full circle, now here you are, you're stuck with me. Your daughter lives in Baltimore and you live in the middle of downtown Baghdad. So like, what have you done to yourself?
I don't know. I ask myself that question.
I mean, you have one of those
every morning when I'm crying in the shower.
You have, in fairness, you have one of the, what were the Hussein kids' names? Uday and Qusay. You have like one of those Uday and Qusay palaces in the middle of downtown Baghdad.
Well, what did you do? I mean, obviously your situation didn't work out the way you wanted it.
What do you mean?
You wanted to be in here all by yourself. Well, Kevin and I can leave for this next break. And you can just take it.
Mick Jagger once said, you find sometimes you just might find, you get what you need. You can't always get what you want.
You don't get what you want.
No,
you
I mean, it's worked out well. I just feel
you didn't even know you needed me.
Well, no, and I
you
do.
Needed me.
Here is the thing, and I think it's become readily clear. I do need adult supervision. I mean, seriously.
You need someone to do the template for you.
I need somebody to be like, here's where we're going, and here's how we're doing the show, and that is Casey is phenomenal at that, and because otherwise I would just get on some, Austrian economic rant or something for 20 minutes. So I recognize my limitations, or I don't recognize them. People recognize them for me. Our boss on the corner.
He said, no, you're not doing this by yourself. You need someone in there.
I don't even know how we got on this conversation.
Direct. Yeah, you brought it up. Thanks.
But what was the spinoff? What was the topic we were talking about?
We were talking about the mall.
Oh, the
originally.
mall. But why did we?
I don't know.
I don't even know.
Stream of conscious.
Yeah.
Very nice.
It's time for a break.
It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
93 WIBC Mobile News. news on the level, on the go.
The finale is tonight. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 11:30. Vice President Kamala Harris will accept the Democratic nomination for president today on the final night of the DNC in Chicago. Her VP choice, Tim Walz, spoke last night.
We're all here tonight for one beautiful, simple reason. We love this country.
Harris's speech will wrap up 4 days of Democrats pointing out the differences between them and Republicans. The House Education Committee has hit Columbia University with a subpoena over anti-Semitism on campus. It issued the subpoena Wednesday after Columbia failed to comply with its request for documents. Lawmakers are demanding a look at the Board of Trustees minutes, plus all communication exchanged between school administrators and Jewish students. I'm Kirk Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Sinus pain. You know it all too well. It's constant. It's frustrating. The pressure, the headaches, the snoring, the constant clogged feeling. You're tired of feeling like this, but you've tried nasal sprays, over-the-counter medicines, even home remedies. No matter what you try, nothing gives you lasting sinus relief. You're tired of missing out and feeling miserable. There is something you can do. Something different. Indianapolis Sinus Center. The physicians at Indianapolis Sinus Center have been serving the community with proven treatments for over 50 years. They know what you're going through, and they're standing by ready to offer you the best treatments to provide long-term relief. Breathe better. You don't have to keep suffering from sinus pain. Call Indianapolis Sinus Center today at 317-528-9650 and take the first step toward relief. 317-528-9650. That's 317-528-9650, or go to IndianapolisSinusCenter.com.
Kick off fall with Labor Day deals at Lowe's. Right now, buy one, get one free on select interior paint via Lowe's gift card rebate for your next paint project. Plus, save big on select 1.5 pint or 1 quart mums. Get 5 for just $10. Shop these can't-miss deals today before they're gone, because Lowe's knows home improvement. Valid through 9/4 while supplies last. More terms and restrictions apply. See Lowe's.com/rebates for details.
Hey, checking in?
This is not just your flu shot appointment at Walgreens.
Yes.
This is getting your entire family vaccinated in one trip.
Hey, Mom?
And a snack on the way out. Get flu shots for everyone in your family, together. Schedule appointments online today. This is wellness made easy. Walgreens.
Vaccine subject to availability and for ages 3+. State and health-related restrictions may apply.
Healthcare.gov is here for you when life happens. If you lost your health coverage because of turning 26, going off Medicaid, leaving your job, or moving, you could be eligible to enroll in new coverage now. And if you need to update your coverage because of marriage or having a baby, you could also be eligible. But don't wait. There's a limited time to enroll. Check your eligibility at healthcare.gov today. Life happens. Get covered. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Hammer and Nigel here, inviting you to join us as we kick off the weekend every Friday around 5:45 with Beer Sample Friday, brought to you by our friends at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Casey, I'm sorry.
Thank you for apologizing.
I made a huge mistake.
Which is?
Well, I made an attempt at humor last segment.
You're not allowed
and
to do that.
It's not going over well.
What are you talking
about? Just no more humor of any kind.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. So last segment we were, I love our YouTube chat. They're just some of the, I don't read them all day, every day, but sometimes I'll just periodically catch a glimpse to see what's going on. You can watch us on YouTube, by the way. Just put Kendall and Casey into your YouTube bar. And we were talking about the history of us working together.
Yeah.
And I made a joke about saying, I mean, I was not joking in the sense of I did want the show by myself. That's 100% accurate. You know, we're too far down that rabbit hole to be like, oh, I was just kidding.
You can't reel that one back.
But I made a joke saying I had successfully run the 2 women off who worked here before.
Right.
And somebody in the YouTube chat, Mike, in fact, imagine bragging about ruining a great show and running off the chicks. What a narcissist. All right. Well, so we got to ruin it for you. That was a joke.
Yeah.
Daisy moved to Texas because her husband was allowed to work from home and could work wherever he wanted during COVID. And Mock left because she's super rich and didn't need to work here anymore. Or something like that.
Or something like that.
No one was run off. They both made their own choice to go for reasons that had nothing to do with this radio show. And they're doing very fine with their podcast and everything else they have going on. And everybody's very happy. But no more humor, Casey. We're done with humor.
Not allowed to have any
no
more
fun of any kind.
We got a voicemail, I think it was last week. And I was debating on playing it, but it was like all how you ran them off.
I did.
And at the end of the voicemail, he says, "Casey, watch your back." Okay.
I don't know.
They left on their own accord.
I mean, I can't believe this is a thing I have to say, but I don't know how long they've been gone now. How long? I don't know, 2.5, 3, 4, whatever. How many years it's been? They both left of their own accord.
Right.
They both left in good standing. They didn't leave because of anything that had to do with me or anything to do with WIBC. They had life changes and other opportunities, and they seized onto those and are both very happy, and God bless them, and everyone wishes them nothing but the best. I cannot believe we had to have this conversation.
So speaking of chicks, did you see Chick-fil-A is going to be serving more than just chicken?
What's going on with this?
Coming up?
This makes no sense to me. Tell.
They're launching a streaming platform. Yeah.
Well, about chicken?
No, they're going to have their own production company, including studios. They want to create family-friendly shows.
How about chicken?
And they're just waiting to acquire content and get their license.
About chicken?
I think it's going to be more than just chicken.
I don't know. I tend to think you should stay in your own lane.
Yeah.
Like if you look at really successful people, a lot of them are good at one thing. Like this guy's a horrible example because he's a horrible human being, but I'm just going to use it because it's the first name that came to mind. Like Vince McMahon made literally billions of dollars in the wrestling business. Almost everything else he tried to dabble in, he failed miserably at. Bodybuilding, XFL, movies, other pay-per-view that was not wrestling. Like, the guy's a billionaire. He made a gajillion dollars off wrestling. He was great at wrestling. He stunk at everything else. Stay in your own lane. Like, you see this with entrepreneurs. They do this stuff all the time. And it's like, why? You're good at this. How is Chick-fil-A going to compete with Netflix or Pixar or like what
Amazon Prime?
What's the
whatever?
I think I have enough media to choose from.
Yeah, you don't need the Chick-fil-A.
I mean, you got
platform.
All the ones that are out there. You got the. By the way, can I make an editorial comment here?
Sure.
Do you know who is the worst streaming platform out there in terms of how the actual platform works?
Which one?
And this isn't even close. I'm talking about just the execution of the I'm not talking about the content. I'm talking about the execution of the platform.
No, which
Paramount.
One? Oh.
It is clunky. It is.
Don't have that one.
It's just. My wife bought it on a trip to somewhere. Oh, when she did a work trip, and she didn't tell me about it. And then one day she was watching Paramount. I'm like, when did we get this? I got like a month ago when I went on a work trip.
She give you the password to get into it?
Well, she set it up for me. I don't know how to do any of that. So she set it up for me. So it works. I press the remote and it,
And there it is.
It works. And
sometimes apparently.
Well, it's clunky. Like all the other ones work pretty well. Like even things like getting it always defaults with the captions on it. And I hate that. So I try to get the captions off.
Yeah.
It takes freaking forever, and it's clunky. And then trying to rewind is goofy. And Paramount is the worst. It stinks.
Do you know how much it is every month? Is that a $10 one?
No, I don't think it's that much. I think she got some sort of deal on it.
Chick-fil-A is not saying how much their platform will cost. Of course, it's not even up and running yet. They have produced some content that they've put on their website. And Stories of Evergreen Hills was one of them. Short animated film. But here's a real question, because Chick-fil-A, will it be available on Sundays?
Yeah, that's a great question. They're going to shut the platform down on Sundays.
Right. Sorry, you can't access today.
Who is buying?
It's our pleasure.
Who's like, give me the Chick-fil-A streaming platform? Like what? I mean,
somebody who wants exclusive family-friendly shows.
No, I mean, like think of all the ones that are already out there. You got Discovery, Disney Plus, Hulu, Netflix, Peacock,
They're
Paramount.
apparently going to focus on unscripted like reality.
Well, like whose line is it anyway type of things?
Just more of the reality TV industry, but it will be a different kind.
This is going to be a disaster.
Family friendly.
It's going to be a disaster. You
think
guys
so?
make good, highly priced chicken.
Okay, we have to talk about
Stay
this.
with it.
Hobbies that are unattractive to women. Male hobbies that women find unattractive.
Sure. Okay, right.
On the list, they've got playing video games, collecting figurines, magic tricks.
A lot of beta stuff, right?
Gambling.
But that's not sports betting. That's not sports betting.
Okay.
That's different.
Building model trains, taxidermy, comic book collecting, and also bird watching.
Okay, so
these are hobbies that men have that women find unattractive.
Okay, so other than the taxidermy and the betting, it's all kind of like they're looking for manly men stuff.
I guess so.
Right, and those are all, everything else you named other than the taxidermy and the betting is almost like childlike.
Yeah, nostalgic sort of stuff.
Men trying to be little boys.
Okay.
And so like you back me up on this. I've gotten way further with
rekindling their childhood.
Well, I've gotten way further with women than I ever should have in life, and that's because I've figured women out. You and I have talked about this many times, and it burns Casey. It burns Casey how well I actually know women. Like she gets this look of hatred on her face because she knows I'm right when I'm telling her about women, and women want a man, like normal women want a man who's going to be in charge. Like they want a man who is an alpha dude who's going to step in there and tell them how it's going to be. And yeah, okay, you may give in on some things, but by and large, women want men to be in charge and they want men to make good choices and just make the choices, period.
Yeah, take some of that mental load off.
Right.
And just
with
make
these,
a decision.
it's like,
be decisive and protect me.
I mean, and no offense, but do we think the comic book guy, and Abdul can hear me right now, I know he's walking around the hallway. He has have you ever seen Abdul's office? He has like 9 million comic books.
There's barely any room in there for Abdul.
What are we doing with that? Like if you're a comic book guy. Now, I will say, your husband, and I know you load this, but your husband is one of the coolest guys I know. He's into Sports Illustrateds, but he's doing it to make money.
Yeah.
He's selling them. He's cornered the market. So I'm exempting him from this because he's one of the coolest guys I know. But yeah, I think, by the way, taxidermy, that's where you kill the animal.
Yeah, and you stuff it and hang it on the wall.
Boy, that's... and I'm sure many people do that, and that's fine.
Well, like you've seen a deer.
But would you want a spouse where that's like their
hobby?
Like, not they don't do it once. I killed this deer. Look at this. Like they do it over and over and over again.
So on tomorrow's show, we're going to find out what female hobbies are a turnoff for men.
Oh, how exciting.
Okay.
Hey, great news.
I know.
Abdul is reporting that Dishonest Gabe has been arrested.
Okay, Abdul's going to join us next on 93 WIBC.
Coming up on Tony Katz today, day 3 of the DNC. No policy, but a moment of almost possible redemption. That's after the news at noon on 93 WIBC.
People are talking about Window Nation. Their Window Nation customer, Vicky, says, we couldn't be happier. This was a great experience. She's just one of over 33,000 5-star reviews. That's because Window Nation is all about the value. And this August, they're giving you great value during the Window Nation anniversary sale. Right now, buy 2 windows, get 2 free, plus no interest or payments for 24 months. And if you act now, you'll get an extra $250 credit.
Window Nation values your satisfaction in their quality, service, and affordability. That's why they stand behind their windows with a lifetime warranty. Window Nation was also recently ranked highest on Forbes' list of best window installation companies. So you can trust Window Nation for high-quality, affordable windows. Hurry, this big sale ends August 31st. Schedule that in-home estimate right now at 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com.
Fox, CNN, other news sources are reporting home prices are expected to decline into 2025, even after the election. Maximize your home sales price now before this downturn with the agent proven to sell for top dollar, Mark Dietel. Maybe you want to maximize equity from your home, but not sure how. Mark Dietel guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. Listen to what Mitch from Martinsville had to say about working with Mark Dietel. My home was getting too big for me, so I was looking to downsize.
After hearing about Mark Dietel on the radio, I decided he was the right choice. Mark was fantastic. He was able to get multiple offers within 48 hours and closed in 30 days. Call the local Indianapolis agent I trust and recommend, and the agent who guarantees your home sold or he'll buy it. Call Mark Dietel at 317-755-4232 for all the details, or go online to markdietel.com. That's Mark, Dietel.com. Tell him Rob sent you.
Wake up. Breakfast. And Nature Made vitamins. Whatever your morning sounds like, Nature Made fits right in. Whether you're looking for vitamin C or a multivitamin to get key nutrients, we've got you covered. Now that's a good morning. We take care of you so you can take on your day. Start your day with Nature Made, the #1 pharmacist-recommended vitamin and supplement brand. Based on a survey of pharmacists who recommend branded vitamins and supplements.
Small business owners, we know tackling your to-do list can sometimes feel like going 12 rounds against a heavyweight champ. Except that heavyweight's gloves are made of something hard, like diamonds. So when a new to-do pops up, you're like, I can't. I'm boxing my diamond boxing glove-wearing heavyweight champ of a to-do list. At Progressive, we don't want to make your day any harder. That's why we make it easy with over 30 customizable coverage options, so you can finally land a knockout blow. See if you can save on business insurance in as little as 7 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company. Coverage provided and serviced by affiliated and third-party insurers.
Tony Katz here for Premier Arms in Brownsburg. This is your premier gun store. Premier Arms has the experience and know-how to help the new gun buyer and the most experienced marksman. They've been in business for over 20 years and have a friendly, knowledgeable staff that wants to help you, not talk down to you. Premier Arms in Brownsburg is family-friendly, so bring the kids. All ages are welcome. Everyone can find what they're looking for at Premier Arms in Brownsburg, 3754 South Green Street. Online at premierarms.com. Tell them Tony Katz sent you, premierarms.com.
If you have breathing triangle issues like compromised nasal breathing and sleep, snoring, or even sleep apnea issues, a call to Advent makes sense. Because breathing well will help you live better.
Tune in to the Absolute Retirement Planning Show.
When retirement comes about, we're now relying on what we have saved to meet those needs.
Sundays at 9 a.m. right here on 93 WIBC.
This week, Sundown Gardens has 50% off all bald and burlap shade trees. 186th Street and Spring Mill Road in Westfield. SundownGardens.com.
Never miss your favorite shows on WIBC. Get your content to go. Tony Katz, Kendall and Casey, Hammer and Nigel, Tony Kennett, The Gun Guy, Home and Garden. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
Well, surprise, surprise, surprise. Yes, surprise, surprise, surprise.
Oh, my goodness, look who it is. He's an author. He's a broadcaster. He's a provocateur. He's getting justice in the criminal system. The one and only Abdul Hakim Shabazz. Hello.
You know, after 20 years of being an attorney, I've never had to participate in the justice system as a petitioner until today.
Well, obviously, we had you on Tuesday. You had the resounding victory against gutless Gabe Whitley, who didn't show up to the protective order hearing that was granted for you in swift order. And now, last night, Wednesday evening, you posted some breaking news involving failed congressional candidate gutless Gabe Whitley.
Yes. My sources told me that Mr. Whitley has been arrested. I want to say he turned himself in yesterday. And it's weird because this is on a parallel track with the protective order stuff that happened yesterday. So it can get a little confusing, folks. So bear with me here. On the protective order track, went to court, filed my protective order, and he was served with that protective order yesterday, Wednesday. On the threats and intimidation track, which is the criminal charge and the criminal matter, he ended up turning himself in and apparently was released on his own recognizance, is what my sources tell me. I'm still trying to get the I's dotted and the T's crossed because nothing was posted online as of yesterday. Now I got to go back and check later today.
Now, this protective order and the arrest, though, were both related to threats he made against you online.
Yeah, taking pictures, going to Google Maps, finding out where I lived, because address in a lot of public documents. No big secret, just don't put it out there. Found a picture of my house on Google Maps, posted online, and encouraged people to do to me what they did to Donald Trump.
Yeah, I mean, it was a really bad, really, really bad thing. And I want to read you the post that he put on social media yesterday. I would guess this would be after the arrest in question had taken place. He said, quote, I appreciate the numerous calls I received this evening from Republicans across the country, including several messages from the current members of Congress and a call from a sitting Republican governor. My legal counsel performed exceptionally well, and I am grateful for the divine guidance I received during this new chapter. Now, I am never one to question anyone's relationship with the Lord. However, I am willing to question that any sitting Republican governor said, "Ooh, I better call Gabe and make sure he's okay."
When I saw that, I was 5 seconds off of sending Eric a text message.
Eric Holcomb, yes.
Hey, Eric Holcomb. You didn't have to call Gabe like, I'm doing that nut job? Like, no, okay, just checking.
He lives in a land of delusion, doesn't he?
And I also going to text Aaron Houchin, Larry Bouchon, Victoria Sparks, Greg Pence, Jim Merritt. Hey, you guys ever talk to Gabe Whitley? Reach out to him? Like, no. Hey, Jim, did you guys do?
Because he said in here, I believe, that it was a sitting member of Congress, correct? Including sitting several current members of Congress. So that would take Santos out of the equation.
And it wouldn't be Andre Carson or Pete or Frank Mervan.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't be Rudy Yoakum. And sure as hell ain't Jim Banks.
I mean, this guy's ability to lie without thinking twice about it, I mean, it really is disturbing.
Well, my thing is, like I maintained before, I believe that Gabe Whitley has some serious mental health related issues, and hopefully he'll get the treatment that he needs and deserves to have, because Indiana spent millions of dollars on mental health, and so I'm sure the Indiana Department of Corrections had allotment in that as well, some sort of mandatory training. Oh, and also I found out he was also has to wear a GPS monitor.
Oh. So they'll know where he's at.
Exactly.
Okay, very good. All right. Well, you will keep us up to date as the news breaks.
As the Gabe turns.
Yes. All right. As the information becomes available, Abdul is our guest. Okay. So McCormick came out last week on our program. This was right about the time we were wrapping up our show, so you and I didn't get to do a deep dive on this. She did put forth a property tax plan, and you're much more well, you're in it for the money, so you're much more cerebral about these things than I am.
I practice a policy of enlightened self-interest.
Oh, is that what we call it?
I want what is well for the state of Indiana, but I also want to get rich at the same time.
Yeah, very good.
Doing well by doing good.
My point on this is you don't really ever get mad about these sort of things, but I am very ticked that she came on my show.
Really, Dr. McCoy.
Yes. she came on my show. We gave her an opportunity, trying to find out where she stood on things. And she made this big claim about waiting for the tax committee and essentially leading our audience to believe she kind of wanted to be the adult in the room and not just throw plans out kind of willy-nilly. And then within almost no time after coming on our show, there she is sprinting to a podium with almost no notice, throwing out a property tax plan. That makes me mad because I believe I was lied to.
Well, like I said, I don't know what's in somebody's heart. I don't know what their intents were. I would say, based on what you described to me, that the facts were, her statements were inconsistent with the facts.
Yeah.
Now, whether somebody was lying out or misspoke or mistaken, that I don't know.
She didn't know she had a property tax plan?
No, I will say this.
Your bullcrap spin is my favorite part of every segment. Go on.
Hey, well,
I'm gonna get dizzy here, but go ahead. You go ahead.
I'll make your head spin like Linda Blair in The Exorcist by the time it's all said and done. No, the thing is, first of all, I'll give Jennifer credit for at least having a proposal with some details and at least a cost out there.
She did have the cost.
And now, when Mike Braun put his plan together on that cocktail napkin, like, Mike, how much does it cost? How are you going to do assessments? What about, so the bonding of local governments? These are just sort of basic property tax 101 related questions. Well, I got to go back and fix this. So I will give Jennifer credit. Now, like I said, obviously the devil's in the details. We got the Property Tax Commission coming up. Indiana Fiscal Policy Institute has an event coming up, I want to say later this month, on property tax, sort of the history of property tax and sort of how we got here. So McCormick wanted to be part of that discussion. I get that. I respect that. The idea is, I'm not so sure, but at least she put something out there.
Because, all of her plan is backed up by the state of Indiana. There's no controls whatsoever on local governments. They can do whatever they want to do. It's a massive, massive, hundreds of millions of dollars annually give away to local governments, primarily schools. And the math on it is this. It's basically a $600 million a year plan that almost all of it comes from the state of Indiana. And if you've got a budget surplus of $2.4 billion, well, within 4 years, we're all out of money. I mean, they're just like, come on, what are we doing here? I mean, I know you say like she had a plan but it's no more or less serious than what Braun was, because that doesn't work in any world other than the comic book world that you like to live in.
Hey, I didn't say it was a good plan. I just said she had a plan.
Yeah. Why do these people not tell the truth? I mean, I would have immense respect for if she'd come in here and said, here's the plan. I'm sure I would have disagreed with it. But just, I mean, why? Like, we went through the same thing on abortion. I don't like the term on-demand abortion. This is not happening. Then what's your limits on it? Well, it's between the doctor and the woman. Okay, so you have no limits. So you're for on-demand abortion. It's like, just tell the truth. Why won't people tell the truth?
Well, I think the thing is, number one, in a quest to these are, I would argue, like property taxes, the abortion issue, and these are really complicated issues. And what people try to do is sort of oversimplify them by putting out these sort of one pager thing with no details. Like, hey, if we're going to seriously have this discussion, okay, give me the highlights, but I also want the details. How is this going to work? I'm one of those suckers that actually reads the white paper.
Sure. But I mean, but you should do that out of an obligation to the taxpayers. I agree. All three candidates don't have a ton of detail on something that is a detail-driven thing with property taxes.
Exactly. It's very complicated. It is extremely involved, and it has lots of moving parts. And to put out these sort of one page or announcements or sort of one statement, so we should reduce all property tax. Okay, that's fine, but okay, don't tell me what. Show me how. Tell me how you're going to do this and walk me through it. I got time.
Find him on Twitter at ATTY Abdul. IndyPolitics.org is the website. Abdul Hakim Shabazz, you're the best. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, that'll do it for us today. Great job as always, Casey. Thank you, Kevin. And most importantly, thank you to you, the listener. Without you, there is no us. Stick around. Tony Katz coming up next. Kendall and Casey Show, 93 WIBC.
Summers in Indy are great, but don't spend it painting. Do what your neighbor Don did. He called Rhino Shield.
Well, the home was built in 1948. Paint on the aluminum siding was peeling, and I couldn't find anyone who would repaint it until I called Rhino Shield.
Rhino Shield's better than paint. And the crew?
Painted all my aluminum siding, and I've got a front porch that runs the whole length of the house and all the pillars. And once they were gone, I couldn't even tell that they were there.
And right now, you can get the guaranteed protection of Rhino Shield for 10% off the regular price. Plus, there's more great news. Rhino Shield has partnered with Green Sky Financing to offer affordable monthly payments with 0% interest loans to qualified customers.
Well, I've told a lot of people, do the Rhino Shield. It's really a great product, and that would be the way to go.
And here's Rhino Shield's Shane Smith.
Call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Don't paint. Go Rhino.
Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
At Franciscan Health Indiana Blood and Marrow Transplant Program, we treat you like family. Our cancer specialists provide around-the-clock physician access and deliver groundbreaking treatments to face cancer head-on. With over 25 years of experience treating complex blood cancers, we're a top 100 hospital for bone marrow transplants by CareChex and rank in the top 12 nationwide for allogeneic transplant survivals. Visit franciscanhealth.org to learn more and find hope in our compassionate care.
The best things in life, they come in twos. 2 scoops of ice cream, 2 tacos. And now for a limited time, get our best deal of the year. Buy any phone when you switch to Consumer Cellular and get 2 months of service free. That's right, the